Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Last day of work, so I am retired again. And I got an interview at o'clock on Monday, so we shall see. My boss was nice. She said thank you, and I helped her a lot. And I don't know why the hell you're letting me go. It's Harley Davidson. It's not Ford. Anyway, I'm over it. It's like my ex-wife. I'm over it. Move on. The real D, the legend back. It's football. I'm here. I'll be here every day as I've retired from my day job back to my real job. So, with that, Detroit 21, Kansas City 20. Really? I nailed the game right. Kansas City should have won easily. Detroit actually went for a fake punt on their own 17. This is the stupidest coach I've ever seen. I don't care what you see. You got to punt the ball from your own 17 because if you miss it, basically the game's over. You lose momentum. You give KC momentum. So then they go down and score, and that was really their only touchdown until the end. Then they get a pick six. What was Mahomes doing? Then, okay, Kelsey was out. Didn't matter. If they didn't drop 15 balls, they win easily. At the end, they're driving. They got to kick field goals when the guy's wide open and he's dropping the ball, and the two guys cut across each other and drop. Now that's preseason. These guys we're not ready for week one. Mahomes looked like Mahomes, and then look for Kansas City to win big next week. And then the Lions, I got pegged. Their offense sucks. Like I said, they got one lucky touchdown, and then the touchdown at the end. Game should never have been that close. Was their defense good? No, the Kansas City dropped all these passes. They catch half of them. They win by 14. Kansas City's defense looked okay. I mean, see, problem with Detroit, they don't have the running. So now their offense doesn't look good. St. Brown, you just take him out. There's nobody else. So they'll start double teaming St. Brown, and then hopefully Kansas City. I'm shocked their receivers couldn't catch the ball, but we hit the game, played right. Mahomes played. Now, all of you should have won because it was 3.5. Even if you got 4.5, you got plus 1.5 or plus 2.5 with Kansas City. That's a W. And this is why we play teasers, everyone. I actually lost because I played it on Monday when it was 6.5. And I'm really not sure why I played it that early. I really wasn't worried about the line going anywhere. And then Kelsey got hurt like Wednesday. So, I don't know. It was a strange, that type of game. I'm not getting in early. More or less the over-unders I get in early because I know they move. But not really like this line was not going anywhere. It's going to 7.5. I don't care. Even if it went to 8, I don't care. It's under a field goal. So bad luck that Kelsey got hurt, but still very winnable game. Yeah, it was surprising that Kansas City's going to have such bad wide receivers that can't catch the ball. And I guarantee you Mahomes is out with them, throwing the ball to him, going, okay, you're not coming in until you catch 100 of these. You don't drop when Mahomes throws you the ball or Burrow. You don't start dropping and then think you're going to play in the league for long. So that was a surprise. Again, preseason, that's the whole point of preseason. These guys got to be out there catching. I didn't see the Lions do anything. They go for a fake punt. Then late in the game, they go on 4th down at the midfield, and the pass gets blocked. This is the dumbest coach I've ever seen. Do you have a good defense? I don't think so. I mean, again, these guys are wide open. If they catch them, they put up 35 on you. So there's nothing you can do there. I mean, the guys are there, but what do you take out of the game? Detroit still weak defensively, very weak offensively. I mean, really, they got 7 points. They got a pick six, which was, what the fuck was that? The linebacker's out of position, and the ball drops in his lap, or the cornerback, and he catches the ball. He had no business. It was, why was he guarding the running back? So a lot of that. So let's go through the line. So I'm giving you the 2 free picks. Washington State, Wisconsin over 58 down to 52, and Arizona, Mississippi State over 59 or 60 to 54, 53. Both I like because they're low, they're 50s total. So all I need is a 50 in the game, which in college it's 30 to 23, and we got winners. And I don't buy because they're speeding up the clock, because they're like, when they get a first down, the clock keeps running. That's what, 3 seconds? I mean, that's not a lot of time you're saving, unless it's like a 50-yard pass, and then they would stop the clock to run the change down there. But outside of that, it's not a big deal, I don't think. And there was a lot of 70, 80-point, 60-point games. I was studying the teams, 600, 700-yard games. I think it was Oregon ran for 380, or threw for 380, ran for 340. What kind of crap is that? Good luck with them. So let's go through the lines and see what we got here. So I'm going to scores and odds. Now, I heard a rumor that Cam Rising was playing, but I don't see the line move, and I don't hear it anywhere. So I'm not going to trust this source. So see, just because I hear it, I don't believe it, because I don't think he'll be playing this week. I don't think he'll be playing next week. Until I see him in the box score, then I'm going to believe he's not playing, and I don't believe he's playing. All right. Well, Kansas. I hate this because now it says the spread's 10.5. The spread was 3. Kansas is up 7-0 on Illinois early first quarter. I would have played it over because Illinois didn't really shut down Toledo. So I'm still not sure if Illinois is a good defensive team or they're not a good defensive team. Hey, Craig and John. I'm fine, thank you. Last day of work, so now I can get into my real job, which is this, in economics. I had a nice email from a friend today. He says, I've been enjoying the economics talk, and he had an accident, which I was really sad to hear, but I hope he gets better. But he's like, well, do you want to bet this or bet that? So whatever makes him happy, but it's nice to get the comments. I know the economics is good because I learned it in my master's. And people ask me, how do you just know it? And I go, because I do. I learned it very well. I can picture it. I can visualize it. I can understand it at a base level. So anything you throw at me, I can go, well, this and this and this. Plus, I don't get into the Keynesian with the words that who the fuck knows what they're talking about. The Austrians don't make it confusing. That's why it's easy for me to, go with it. Okay, Wake Forest, 57.5. This is all tomorrow from 10.5. I got Vanderbilt as an over team. Wake, kind of like a B team, let's say. Good defense. Yeah, I got them as a B. It's pretty good defense. But so here's the problem with week 1 is when they play the Division II teams. What do you do with it? What do you do with Ole Miss Mercer? Are you going to take 70 points, 73-7? And you're going to say, wow, Ole Miss has a great defense and a good offense. But what I do take out of it is when they get 600 yards is when the quarterback is 5-0, right? He throws 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. then I take that out of it, even though it was a high school team. So it's very, you can pick a little, but you really need to see it. So I really need to see Wake and Vandy. So I don't really know what Wake is. Vandy beat Hawaii, but they gave up 28 to Hawaii. But now Wake's got the new quarterback, not Hartman. So it's not a game to play. Notre Dame 7.5 and 50.5. Notre Dame's an A. NC State's an under. Beat a weak Connecticut team like 20 to 10 or something. I'm curious to see Hartman here. So he beat Navy and then he beat Division II team, but we know Hartman from Wake Forest should be fine here. I'll be surprised if they lose this game. But NC State, normally has a good defense, so this would be a good test for Notre Dame on the road against a good defense. Bobby Bo, how you doing? Last day of work, Bobby Bo. Now I'm back here 7 days a week, so you should be happy with that. Yeah, Ole Miss, Tulane. Tulane, I was watching them against South Alabama, and I actually had South Alabama, and their quarterback looked very good. South Alabama's a good team, and he ate them up. Ole Miss beat, nobody, Mercer, and I watched the first basically the quarterback threw the receiver, and the receiver just walked into the end zone 4 times in a row. So I'm not getting anything out of that. So you got to be careful with that. So, yeah, I think, and it's at Tulane. I wouldn't be surprised if Tulane didn't win. Bobby, just call him D, the real D. It's too long of a name. He's got to shorten the name. Bobby, that's right. Today was your last day of the contract. They screwed up on the right. Yeah. And my boss was nice. Oh, thank you for being here, for the 4 months. And, and I said, thank you for having me. I was very happy there. That's probably why I bitched, because it was a good job. So I was kind of, good pay, and I'm working remote, and I'm going to go to Europe and be with Jenna or be with Daria and work from there. So, what a great opportunity. So that's kind of why I'm a little bit pissed. And I thought I was actually going to be there a year. When I mentioned the 9/8 date to the contract house, they just ignored it. That's what I'm pissed at. And, I would have planned it a little differently, but I bought a lot of gold. So that's all that matters. That's BS. They need to understand the profession needs the check to get more medals. Well, that's exactly what I said. That's exactly why I work right now. It's strictly to buy gold. That's it. There's no reason to buy. I'm not there to be a career. I'm not there to work 10 years. I'm already getting Social Security, so I am not in a thing. This is my retirement, doing this, getting money on football and teaching economics. And I'll tell you, it really helps if you retired, or somebody like Bobby who's played and now maybe looking for things. It's so relaxing because I'm teaching, which is what I enjoy to do. And I get up and it's okay, from 11 to 1, we're going to teach economics and gold and talk about football. I mean, it's beautiful. So, I can just see doing this every day. I mean, there's no reason not to, and there's no reason to, kind of cheers you up, and it's interesting talk. But yeah, I'm going to look for more gold. I'm debating what to do because I got my big check today. So there was one check that went to rent. This check doesn't. This is a big check. And because I transferred money over to Fifth Third for the 0%, they paid the cards. So theoretically, I don't owe a payment on any card this month until October 1st when I owe Fifth Third. So I'm thinking this is really a good, I'm saving a lot of money not having to pay the cards this month. And then they're gone anyway. And then it's just 2 cards, and one is, I got 21 months of 0%. So really works out well. Jen is still sick. Her neck looks terrible. I don't know if she got Botox in the neck. Reminds me of Rick Rude, where he shot up his penis for sexual thing, and it didn't work, and they were going to have to chop it off, and that's why he died, because he couldn't take it. But they're going to have to amputate it, and it's like what she did. All of a sudden, she's got a bunch of stuff on her neck. So I said, "Well, when you get healthy, we'll go to Greece or wherever, but not until you're healthy." So she's sleeping, she's tired, she's on medication. I feel bad for her, but I said, "You don't need that shit. You're fine. You're pretty. Stop doing these stupid injections." Professor, the real D. Professor, you understand that business is business. That's just how America works. You're going to be blessed soon by my friend. Well, it's not that. It's normally they tell you how long you work. So in other words, they said I was going to be there. So I could understand if they would have said you're there 4 months, you can choose. I was upset because they said it's a year, so I'm planning it as a year and I'm budgeting as a year. Otherwise, yeah. I was shocked to get the job. I was happy to get the job. That's what I told them. So I might go back. They can't find anybody. I'm going, you need somebody to do year end. Like, if I'm gone, who's doing all this shit that I'm doing? So I don't know. I could come back for year end or beginning of next year. I don't know, but they like me, and it's like I'm welcome back, I believe, if they can find, because they can't hire, but you need the work. It's Harley Davidson. It's not like Ford's where they can't make money. Bobby, yeah, if there's a bright side is that we got day classes coming back. There you go, Bobby. She got a procedure done recently. No, she took a Botox for her neck to look younger, I guess. I don't know. I never heard of it. Next thing you know, it's all like not bubbly, but all bumps and everything. I feel bad for her. Rick Rude amputated what? His dick. Yeah, that's why he died. I think he took Viagra in the penis. I guess somebody told him, "Oh, that'll make you really horny and really hard." And anyway, so he took it, and then it blew up or didn't work. So he goes to the emergency. He said, "Well, we're going to have to amputate it," and he couldn't handle that, so he killed himself. And I believe that to be a true story because it came from, I think, like Greg the Hammer Valentine or one of those guys. But yeah, that's what I've heard that story before. Yeah, you got to get into the Mr. Perfects and the Rick Rudes. All right, where were we? Georgia, 42.5, 52.5. It should be another Georgia shutout. Maybe they get 3 points on them. Georgia scores in the 30s or so. Georgia being Georgia, they play to their defense. They're smart. James Madison, 6.5, 40.5, down from 7.5, 40.5. Where are they? Down from 41. James Madison apparently is an 18, but again, it's too early to tell. They won big and they had a good performance. Virginia looked like shit. But again, it's too early to start ranking the teams. This is the problem I'm having right now. So is James Madison really an A, and is Virginia really a Z? If this is the case, and they're laying 6, I like James Madison. But I think they're both in Virginia. I just think Virginia sucks. But I don't know how good James Madison is. So again, that's why it's hard to play those teams. VTech, 2.5, 49.5 against Purdue. And Purdue played an over game with Fresno State. Okay, that shows me a lot. Virginia Tech I think they beat Old Dominion. So I got them as a B right now. So they showed signs of offense. I think Purdue's a live dog here. You lose to Fresno State at home. But you played them good, 39-34. Virginia Tech, not supposed to be that strong. So I think Purdue I don't know if they'll win it, but with 8.5, they should be there. Nebraska, Colorado, prime time, 2.5, 58.5. So Nebraska starts as a 7.5 favorite. It goes for about 30 seconds. 2 hours later, Colorado is now a 2.5, a 2-point favorite going to 2.5-point favorite. Is there a letdown from beating TCU? I don't think this is the type of thing that's a letdown. And they got Nebraska, who sucks. They got a whopping 13 on Minnesota. I think Colorado puts up 30 or 40 here. I do think Nebraska blitzes them more because TCU wasn't ready and didn't really blitz them. So I think you're going to see some blitzes by Nebraska. That's how I would play Prime Junior here. And I think there'll be, I don't think there'll be a letdown because they're still trying to prove it. So we will see. The real D, what line movement have you seen? A lot of line movement. Which game are you talking about? I love Temple +9 versus Rutgers. Temple's a light dog. I'm not. I think I would play that game under. I don't think I would fuck around with Temple. What's the line? I haven't gotten there yet. You guys are anxious. You're jumping way ahead. Temple. The big Temple Rutgers. I don't know what the line is. I'll have to get to it. Bobby, my brother, you coming back to manage? Yeah, he might. I don't. Nebraska can't score. Well, they have a bad offense, that's for sure. But, if they have a good defense and get turnovers, but neither does Colorado. Does not have a good defense. But I like Colorado +3.5 at home, I think is a good bet. I loved it getting 13 at home from Nebraska, and there's no way Nebraska was going to win. We'll get your Temple in a bit. Now, Utah 7.5, 46.5. So a friend of mine says, oh, Rising's playing, and I'm not getting that. I checked around. I don't see he's playing. So I'm not going to say he's playing. So you basically have Baylor and Utah quarterback out, which should lead to an under. Now, Utah's got a strong defense, but Baylor doesn't. Baylor got lit up by Texas State. So I think Utah wins this game. I don't know if I can bet the backup, and I don't know if I can bet them after a big emotional game against Florida. So I think Utah will be a little flat. They can get the win. I think they just stone Baylor. And again, it's how good is the second team quarterback on Baylor? I have no idea yet. We'll find out. Shapen will be out 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll see. But I haven't seen Rising. He's still questionable. I doubt he'll play, especially with Shapen out. They don't need him per se in the backups. But you can see the big difference between Rising and the backups. And that's what I mean by it's not a system. A system, anybody comes into Ohio State and Alabama and just, look at this. Milrose just comes right in. But not at Utah. If Milrose is at Utah, he's getting buried. You're never hearing it. Well, it's like Tua's brother is in Maryland. You don't even hear of him. He's nothing. Utah versus Baylor should be under. Yeah. What's up, Greg? Bobby Bo. Bobby likes mingling with the class. Kansas State 14.5, 49.5, down from 15.5. K-State's a really good team. I like their quarterback. Troy is a very strong running team from what I saw. Again, I don't know who they ran, but they still ran for like 300 yards. And anytime a team can run, they can hurt you. Although I thought Boise could hurt Washington because they could run, and they didn't run for shit. The only problem is if you get down 20 points, now you got to go pass, and you can't. You're a good running team. So I look at this where I think K-State, puts up a big number on Troy. Let's see. Syracuse 24.5, 56.5 to Western Michigan. I got Western Michigan as an over. I got Syracuse as an over. They both put up a lot of points. I don't know enough to what am I going to do? Am I going to play it? I got Western is a strong run team. I put in the notes. So they're going to run. Syracuse put up a lot of points against the Division II team. So this game you don't know because they haven't played good competition yet. I don't know if I'm going to lay a lot of points with Syracuse. Did Mark McGuire? Yeah, Mark had a really good show. We're going to get to that later. No, I didn't because, well, they probably do recognize when I bitch at them. But like today, he didn't have a guest. It was a very good show. He talked about brics. He talked about Russia's doing that. I mean, Bobby, I don't think my 50,000 in gold is nearly where it's going to be. It's going to be maybe 200,000 an ounce. This whole thing Russia's doing, they're out of the ring fence comebacks, and they're not trying to de-dollarize. They're trying to compete, and nobody can compete with gold. It's a gold standard, not a fiat paper Titanic. This versus gold, it ain't close. Gold wins. So if the U.S. has to start competing, and then I saw where like 80 nations want to get out of the dollar and go into brics because it's gold, and everybody knows how good gold is, except for the U.S. apparently. So basically, they're going to need the gold price to go up a lot, and they're going to tie oil and gas to gold. So somebody asked me about the Egypt and adding Saudi Arabia and the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai. That's a lot of oil, and they're going to want gold for oil, which means they need a bigger price of gold. So the demand for gold is already through the roof, but when you start attaching it to oil, we don't want U.S. dollars. We want gold for the oil. Fuck, gold's going to just go. They'll destroy COMEX. So where's Luke? I can show him that. But he started asking me if where my kids were born. No, he didn't bring you up yesterday, Bobby. Yeah, I remember those Max teams used to always go over. Last year the MAC teams were terrible. So sometimes you get them. Usually Toledo, Northern Illinois are pretty good overs, and then like Ohio or Central Michigan, I'll have a good quarterback and they'll go over. But some years they graduate, they don't get the new players in, and they play like shit. So MAC, I'm looking at now. Our overs are the Big 12 and the Pac-10, and your Alabamas and stuff. Should be a good game. Alabama, Texas. Who do you like there, Bobby? I think you got to go under in that game. Miami 744.5 against our Massachusetts. So I got Miami. They played one game against Miami. Who the fuck no? Against Miami of Florida. And UMass we saw beat New Mexico State and then lose by 100 to Auburn. What do you take out of them? This is what I am expecting them to get killed. We load up on New Mexico State, and then New Mexico State puts a 60 up the next week. And that's the way it always is. You start chasing it. But basically, how good's Miami of Ohio? All we know is they got killed by that. So can Mass win? I don't know. Miami probably wins the game because UMass really sucks, but we'll see. And now they've seen the quarterback, so nobody's surprised by him anymore. Michigan 37.5, 56.5. Up from 36.5 and 56.5. I think it'll be like last week. I think 35-3. Vegas maybe gets 7. These teams don't score a lot on Michigan. Michigan runs the ball down your throat. It's basically watching Navy here. Michigan with the plain Jane offense, run, and they just bore you down. Here I like, even if they do put up like a 40, I know Vegas isn't going to score. So probably another Michigan under probably makes a lot of sense here. Kansas up 14-0, getting the ball back. I like the game over because Illinois didn't. They beat Toledo 30-28, so Toledo got 28 on them. I don't think Illinois has the same defense. Kansas, we love Kansas, right? They always score. I wish they were the dog. I would have really jumped on Kansas as the dog here. So this was an over for me, Kansas. The real D, Kansas got one of the main players back. Kansas who? Kansas College? Kansas City? Well, I like the second string quarterback better than the first anyway. But Kansas is a very smart team and a very good offensive team. So they're a good over for us. I never liked Brett Bielema teams. His offense always sucks besides the Russell Wilson Wisconsin team, which was like a fluke. You knew Russell Wilson was good when he takes a team that averages 10 points a game and scores 45 a game. That shows you when you get, that's why I talk about Van Dyke and Hartman and Rising like I do, because it's like Russell Wilson. He goes to a place that's not a quarterback factor and he puts up 40 a game. That shows you how good Russell Wilson is. And that's look at Rising not playing. They can barely score. When he plays, they put up 50 points tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying it. And that's why I kind of get after Alabama and Ohio State, because it's just plug and play. And the guys can never play in the pros. They're always good college players because they got the fast guys. And it's not a realistic. They're not going to get that in the pros. So, they always got to, we got receivers for Tagliavoa. Hey, Kenzie. You hear me talking? Well, that's good. That's what I'm doing. I'm teaching. Bobby, yeah, I was a big will. Yeah, I mean, we made a fortune on it. See, when you stumble onto those, the Vegas is always 2 hours late, so you can really do it. Who do you like, Pats or Eagles? I don't like either of them. Kenzie, when is the next John Wick coming out? Who's John Wick? Was Kenzie in John Wick? Does she play in it? Don't know. All right. A&M 3.5, 51.5. Down from 4.5. I like Miami here as a home dog, I believe. I think I like the game over. I don't know, because A&M, they're doing like in Illinois. They scored a lot in their first game against the high school team. Miami kills Miami of Ohio, but they scored a lot. I can see that all we need is 45 in this game. That's 27-20, and I can't imagine a Van Dyke and A&M with their new offense scoring a lot of points. So I got to believe that. I got to believe. I like Miami and I like the over, to tell you the truth. I think Van Dyke's healthy. They're getting used to the new offense. They ran the ball down the Miami of Ohio's throat. They had 3 runners at 100 yards and Van Dyke. He had a touchdown. He didn't need to throw. They were up 35-3 or whatever. So this is a very interesting game, but I like Miami here. Texas State, UTSA 13.5, 65.5. Up from 12.5. UTSA ought to be pissed after losing, but Texas State beat Baylor, and they looked good. They were very impressive offensively. Their defense wasn't good. UTSA, Frank Harris threw 3 picks, which is very unusual. So I'm going to credit Houston's defense, which looked very good in the game. I think UTSA has a way, a good remedy here is Texas State. However, I don't think they're going to stop Texas State either. So I like this game over 65, 59.5. That's a game in the 30s. They put up 41 on Baylor, so that's meaningful, right? You did it to Baylor, and then UTSA struggled with Houston. Let's say Houston had a really good defense because he threw 3 picks. They drove down there a lot, and they kicked field goals. So I think this is where you like a UTSA is off of a loss, right? Coastal Carolina is off of a loss. We'll see. Tulane, Ole Miss, 6.5. Where's Ole Miss? Ole Miss 7, 64.5, 6.5, 66.5. This is another game that I like Tulane as the home dog here. Ole Miss, okay, they beat Brother Rice High School, and it was like they'd throw the ball and the guys wouldn't tackle them. So that's Mercer, but this is Tulane, who beat a good South Alabama team. At least they were last year. They're a home dog. They want to prove something. They're well coached, good quarterback, good defense. So I think Ole Miss can score on them, but Dart from USC, good quarterback. But it was ridiculously easy. He just throw the ball, and the guys wouldn't tackle, and he'd walk into the end zone. It was ridiculous. So I like Tulane as a home dog, and I like the game over, I think. Northwestern, what the hell are they? The spread's -110. What does that mean? So let's call this spread even, I guess. I've never seen anything like it. So we've got even game, Northwestern, UTEP, and a 39.5, up from 38.5. What I got from UTEP is they're an under team, and New Mexico and Northwestern's an under team. I think this is an under game. Obviously, 45.5. Northwestern's not getting points. You doubt UTEP's going to score a lot here. I mean, this will be 20-10 maybe. I mean, 45.5, never get there. All right. Marshall, 2.5 over East Carolina. 2.5 down from 3.5, and 43.5 down from 46.5. So the betting's going under, so we should bet it over. And 3.5. Now, East Carolina, what did you get out of the Michigan game? Nothing. And then what do you get out of Marshall? Marshall is a pretty good defense. Quarterback's back, but it's at East Carolina. So they got their butt whooped. Marshall's an under team. East Carolina, you don't know. I mean, they only gave up 35 to Michigan. Is that a good defense or not? I don't know. So it's really hard to gather. That's the problem. Like San Jose State plays USC and they give up 70 points. What does that tell you? Not a whole lot. So there's two methods here. There's the in conference and out of conference. So when East Carolina plays Michigan, when they're in conference playing these teams in conference, you're going to get a totally different dynamic, right? So, it's a lot of like Sun Belt teams, App State against Troy. Okay, they're kind of in the same skill set. But if either of them played Alabama, like what are you going to get out of that? So this will be an interesting game. I think Marshall wins it because they're better defense. Arkansas, 37.5, 57.5. Arkansas, 38, 58. Stayed about right. Arkansas is going to kill them. Jefferson will at least 6 touchdowns. That gets you 42 points. Kent State, do they score? Arkansas is going to run it down their throat, and Jefferson. I honestly think over 51 at 57.5 down to 51.5 is the play. Because Kent State could sneak in with 10 points, and I think Arkansas sneaks in with 50. I think they can get to in the mid-50s, upper 50s. Lane 37.5, Lane 31. Yeah, they probably blow it out. Arkansas is very strong this year, so I wouldn't be on the money line. Arkansas is 30,000 to win 100, and Kent State's 4,000. I love the disparity on the money line. So let's say I really wanted Kent State here. I'm only getting 4,000, but if I take the other team, I'm laying 30,000. Shouldn't it be like 30,000, 29,000 the other way? This is why I hate money lines, and people who bet them are stupid, because the odds are horrible in it. You're better off just taking Arkansas, lay the 37.5. Oh, well, if I bet them in the money line, all they got to do is win. Well, then you don't know what you're doing if you can't figure this game out. So I think Arkansas, I think it'll be high scoring. I think it'll be in the 70s. And it could be all Arkansas. Interesting game. Washington, 33.5 from 34.5, and 65.5 up from 64 against Tulsa. Tulsa is an over team. They scored a lot, gave up a lot to whoever the hell they played. Washington, we saw, put up a 60 on a good Boise team. I think this is another over. 65, all you need is 59. I think Washington might do it by themselves, especially at home. Tulsa should be able to score on them. 14, which gets you pretty close. And then do I get I'm laying 33.5. Do I get enough? So I think you go over with Washington. App State, North Carolina. Now, App State's in North Carolina. So it's North Carolina playing North Carolina. North Carolina minus 19.5. Over under 58.5. I think App State gives them a better game than South Carolina does. Again, this is a rivalry. Both teams are high scoring and weak defenses. I think you got to go over here. See, I don't really, one guy sent me the thing, and in college it was all scores, no over-unders. And I'm like, college is all over-under now. There's a little bit of picking the teams, but in this week, I think I picked 2 games with the line, and I picked 8 or 9 with the totals. So I need the totals if I'm going to bet these cards or whatever, especially in college. It's just so easy to go with the total than it is to go the other way. Here's another one. Oklahoma 16.5, 68.5 to SMU. I mean, this has got to be an over. I don't care what Oklahoma, how good their defense is. You're not stopping SMU. I give SMU a good 30 here, and Oklahoma probably in the 50s or 60s. That's an 80, 90-point game. You're laying 62. I mean, I don't know. I think you got to go. I don't know how you can take, do you know what Oklahoma's defense is? And are you going to stop? SMU's got an excellent quarterback. You think you're just going to shut them out? So if you're not shutting them out, you're laying 16.5. Do you lay 10.5? Would it surprise you if SMU loses by a touchdown? Probably not. Bobby, this is your part of the country, Texas. But SMU is lethal. Oklahoma hasn't shown a defense. You can't count against Arkansas State, is nowhere near SMU. So we'll see what SMU does. I don't think Oklahoma can really stop them. So I'm much more comfortable that the game gets high scoring. Unless Oklahoma's defense has changed, and this is what we don't know, do they now have this shutdown defense like a Georgia, like an Iowa State, like a what are the other ones? Georgia, Iowa State. There's a few more in there. I just can't think. Minnesota, Michigan. Do they have that kind of defense? And I just don't think they do. So I like the game over. New Mexico State, Liberty. Liberty 9.5, down from 10.5. All the sharps are coming in now, betting on Liberty. Or no, they're taking New Mexico State. 53.5, down from 54.5. Honestly, I would, if we didn't get murdered the first week with them, I would think New Mexico State and 15.5 is a good play, because I don't think Liberty's going to score that much. Both teams have no defense and good offenses. I like Pavia. He put up a 60 last week, so I don't know. Let's see what they do at Liberty to get a bearing for New Mexico State before we lose any more money with them. So we're going to watch intently on this. John Wick is a good movie. The Real D. Fisher owns Miami, right? Fisher. No, Jumbo Fisher, if that's who you're talking about, was the coach at Florida State. I don't know if he owns Miami. Miami just sucked when they were playing him, but he sucks at A&M, Fisher. I don't know, Professor, because Texas A&M don't want to get a loss as Fisher's on the hot seat. Well, so is Miami, but Miami's got a better quarterback, Van Dyke. Pretty good defense and a good running game. Talent-wise, I think Miami's got a better talent this year. Good runners, Van Dyke, the defense. All right, it's Miami of Ohio, but that's what we're going to see. I just like the consequence. Pretty even game. I like the dog, especially the home dog, but I like the game over. I think Van Dyke's going to turn it on and light it up, and it's up to A&M with Bobby Petrino to stay up with it, and that's why I think it'll get going. They'll score, and I think that's where it is. So I like the over more than I like it, but I'm not sold on Texas A&M when they beat a Division II team and everybody's all excited. The quarterback was okay. I'd much rather have Van Dyke, so we'll see. But I've made a lot of money taking Miami at home, especially in the Orange Bowl games against Oklahoma and Nebraska. So, Jimmy Johnson's not there, unfortunately. See, that's what you're looking for is a Jimmy Johnson. I made so much money betting Jimmy Johnson, it wasn't funny. Tons of money on him. So that's really where the problem lies, is who's the good coach we can bet on. Unfortunately, there's only a few. They're so bad. They're all copycats. What do you think of Auburn, Cal? I'll get to it, Bobby. Florida Atlantic, 3.5, 62.5. So Ohio is an under team based on their first week, which doesn't mean anything. Florida Atlantic is an over team. So Florida Atlantic can score. Ohio, well, Rourke, the quarterback, is injured, but I don't know if he's out or it's questionable. Probably an over game. Florida Atlantic will score. Ohio quarterback plays the no score. UAB and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern lane 7.5 and 62.5. That went up from 59. And the Sharps are betting the over in this game. Georgia Southern's a good team. UAB's a good team. So two pretty good teams, pretty strong offenses, two good defenses as of the first week. So keep in mind, I'm reevaluating, so I'm ignoring last year's, except for Georgia, Iowa State, Iowa, Michigan. Those I got. USC's an over team. UCLA's playing not an over, so we got to see. Their quarterback's not that good. And then Utah's more hard to say because we don't have rising right now. So they're a very strong defensive team. Washington's explosive. Oregon's explosive. So most of the big teams we know, it's these little teams, did Oklahoma change to a more strong defense? We don't know. So this game I'm going to leave alone and watch, but it should be a good one. Georgia Southern's a good team. Lou Lafayette and Old D. Lou Lafayette 5.5 and 51.5. Wow, the Sharps are betting the over. I don't know how you bet the over on Old D. Old D's terrible. Lou Lafayette's pretty good. Lou Lafayette wins the game. They're only laying 5.5. I think take them even. Yeah. Duke's got Lafayette. Good for Duke. Pittsburgh 6.5, 45. Where's Luke? We need Luke to talk about Pittsburgh. They're over here. So Pitt 6.5 and 45. That's a pretty low number. I probably like Cincy as the dog. They scored a lot last week. Pitt's a good defensive team. I think the 45 is a low number. Pitt doesn't score. I like Cincinnati to keep it close because they should be able to score. I like their coach. For a second, I thought you meant UL Monroe, a.k.a. the worst team I've ever seen. No. Lou Lafayette. Missouri, 20.5, 47.5. Where the fucker? Oh, okay. 20 against Middle Tennessee. Oh, who's Middle Tennessee? They got killed by what? Alabama. What does that tell you? Right? I don't know. They're going to get killed, but I have no idea. Missouri, I don't know. Missouri should probably pound them here, I would think. I think here I'd lay the 14 because Middle Tennessee doesn't show anything. MVP, hello. Bobby, I still can't believe what I was watching when seeing them against Army. It was embarrassing stuff. Well, yeah. Good evening, MVP. Hope you're well. Right now, college. Houston Rice. Houston 8.5, 52.5. Now, I'll tell you, after watching the Houston UTSA game, and they stopped Frank Harris at 3 picks, this Houston team's got an excellent defense. I don't know, Donovan Smith. He sounds familiar, but I don't know where he was last year. He was okay. Keep in mind, UTSA has a good defense too, so not bad. But Houston's defense looked excellent. Rice, their defense looked pretty good against Texas at times, but their offense sucks. But again, that was against Texas. But Houston, now keep in mind, both these schools are in Houston. Rice is in Houston. Houston's in Houston, but I don't know if it's much of a rivalry. I like Houston to win here, 8.5 down to 2.5. You beat UTSA, you got my vote, and you got a strong defense, which is what I like. Rice, I don't think has an offense. So I think Houston wins this game. Oregon, 6.5, 68.5. Can somebody explain to me why people don't like Bo Nix on the road? What, because he got killed by Georgia? Like that doesn't happen to anybody else? I don't understand that comment. Bo Nix, to me, I don't care that he's on the road. Will they kill Texas Tech? I think it'll be about a 100-point game. I mean, you got to go over here because Texas Tech, can score. They played a 70 with Wyoming. They're going to play a 68 down to 62 with Oregon. So, yeah, this is definitely an over game. Again, you got a 66 number, but I don't know how strong Oregon's defense is, but Texas Tech, Wyoming's got a good defense, and they put up 37 on them. The problem is they let them get 35. So I think the only way you can play this game's over. Jacksonville State, Coastal Carolina. How's Jacksonville State playing without primetime? Coastal Carolina's 13.5. And up to 6. God, it went from 57 to 60. Look at the Sharps. I don't know what Jacksonville State is. They played a nobody. They beat them. Coastal Carolina played UCLA, which is a much better team. I think Coastal Carolina's pissed. McCall, they drove down on UCLA all game, and they missed a couple of field goals, and they just didn't get touchdowns, which I think they'll get on Jacksonville State. I think McCall is too good of a quarterback, and they're at home off of a loss against UCLA. This would be like a joke. Oh, they're not as good as UCLA. So I think McCall bounces back here. You got to watch like Frank Harris, McCall, after a loss, they're pretty pissed off. That's why they're so good. UConn, Georgia State, 2.5, 53. I have no fucking idea. Georgia State played a high-scoring game. Connecticut lost to NC State. I have no idea here. Too early to tell. We'll see. Better fish to fry. Memphis, 20.5, 57.5. Against Arkansas State, who lost to Oklahoma by 100 points. What do you get out of that? Memphis, good quarterback, high-scoring team. I think they're going to win. but you're laying 20. Probably still win. They're usually an explosive team. I think the professor and all of us in this chat can beat UL Monroe, yeah, and probably Northwestern too. UCF 3.5, 58.5 to Boise. Now this is an interesting game. So is Boise that bad? They got killed by Washington. I wanted Boise to be favored. I would have liked UCF as the dog. I don't know what to do with Boise. They're a strong running attack. They're not that bad. This is another case I like the over. I'm all over these overs. UCF, Plumlee, that's all he does is score. He's a good running quarterback. And Boise, obviously they don't have the defense, and obviously they got a good running offense, but not a great offense. So if Boise was favored, I could take you at UCF, but I can't take. It's hard to take Boise, although they are at home, and they used to be a really good. This would have been an automatic. Alabama 753.5. Here we go. The only way I could play this game is under. What's up with Oak State, Arizona State? We're not there yet, Bobby. Oh, yeah. Well, the quarterback changed from Oak State, and Arizona State's quarterback's hurt. So neither team has a quarterback. We'll get to Eastern Michigan if they're on the board. Or did we already pass them? Eastern Michigan. EMU. They got Minnesota. We're almost there. Just 1 second. I got to do something. Sorry about that. I just did a 66-hour fast, so first time I've eaten in a while. Anyway, okay, so let's go. UCLA, I think I'm at UCLA. Yeah, so UCLA 13 and a half. No, we missed some, I think. No, Alabama, Texas. So Alabama 7. I think there'll be a low-scoring game. I don't like Alabama's quarterback. He ran a lot, but that doesn't mean anything. Texas had struggled with Rice's defense, for Christ's sake. Brewers doesn't look that good. And their defense looked really good. So I think you got two strong defenses. I think you have two average offenses. If Alabama plays Georgia, they won't get 14 points on the board. So I like this game under, absolutely. 54, you go 60. They'll never get near 60. And it's funny, the first line I saw, so Monday I go up north and I'm doing shopping. And that's what made me fast 66 hours because I was like barely getting it. I was like, I looked fat in the mirrors and the thing. I said, what happened? You always had that flat stomach. Where did it go? So I was really pissed because I know what the stomach means. I got diabetes and I don't want diabetes. So then I go on a 66. So Monday, I eat Monday dinner at the Coney. I don't eat Tuesday. I don't eat Wednesday. I ate yesterday at noon. So it was 66 hours. And I feel a lot better and I feel a lot thinner. So when I first look at this in the Coney, Texas is 64. I'm all, okay, I'm going to lock this game under 70. It'll never get close. 2 hours later, I get home and it's down to 53. It dropped 10 fucking points in 2 hours. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So I still like it under, but I liked it under at 64 under 70. Okay, UCLA 13 and a half. And 48 and a half. I think this is another under game. I think UCLA's quarterback looks a little weak. They played a low-scoring game with Coastal Carolina. San Diego State's always an under team. I think this is an under game at 48 and a half, 54 and a half. I think this game will be in the 20s. No, I finished the fast yesterday at noon, and I had made chicken breast. And I coated it in olive oil and French dressing. And so it was really tasty. So I had some of that with a salad. No, I cooked it. I don't remember what I did. And then I had an omelet for dinner with that. And today I had an omelet with the chicken breast in it. So I'll just eat. I got like 6 chicken breasts, and so I cut it up and I cooked it, but I couldn't eat it for 2 days. And I always do that. I always shop, get a lot of food, and then I decide to go on this fast with a fridge full of vegetables and chicken and stuff. Anyway, so but I'm not eating like I ate at 5. I went swimming. I'm doing this. I'm not eating tonight. I'm like eating a little bit. I got off my schedule a little bit too much with the sweets. So it's like no sweets. I want to get trim and fit like Bobby Bowe. I agree. Alabama, Texas under. Yeah, I think it's the only way to play the game. I think it'll be low scoring like last year. Alabama's quarterback sucked. I mean, he ran around a lot, but you're not going to do that to Texas. They're faster than the quarterback. He's not going to just take it and run. He's going to get pressure. I think they had 3 interceptions on Rice and a lot of hurries. And I think that, all that little speed that Alabama quarterback has, he's going to get crushed. So I think Texas can win the game very easily. This is not a prime Alabama team, no matter what Kirk Herbstreit says. Nice work, Professor. That's what I call discipline. Well, the problem is I've been doing that, and then I'll go get ice cream, and I'll get a donut and crap like that. because I'm fucked up head in my head going, well, okay, my blood pressure's down, my weight's down, I can eat that. The problem is though, you eat it, it's Saturday you get, and then you get like 6 chocolatey clears, and so you're eating those, and it's like, forget it. You can't just stay away from it. So I'm resetting. I'm doing my reset, my part of the reset. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Well, it's very good. Dr. Enberg, I'll show you his channel. That's where I learned it from. So I don't ever want you guys to think I'm not a doctor. However, I'm very good at watching guys and learning what they do. So it's basically this guy, Dr. Ekberg. So I watch him and then I relay it to you. And he's I help Bobby with his cholesterol and everything, where he says cholesterol is bullshit. And then we're going to talk about Mark McGuire in a little bit. Very good show. But right now, let's finish football. So what are we talking about? You're welcome, MVP. Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, no, what's funny is I could have went another day. I mean, it was like 12 o'clock and I'm at 66 hours and I'm saying to myself, if I can just get by this, and I wasn't really that hungry, but I had made the chicken. I said, I could easily just get to dinner, go to swim, and then get up tomorrow and I'll be at 90 hours. And I really could have done that because I was so upset about that I had lost my tone and gained a little bit of weight that I was like, fuck this. This isn't, there's a reason I'm fasting and not eating sugar. And then here I start eating sugar like an idiot. All right. Wisconsin, Washington State. This is our free game. Wisconsin 5.5, 58.5. Washington State doesn't look like they have the defense they had last year. I don't remember who they played last week, but they scored a little bit on them. Wisconsin, Buffalo put up 17 on them. So I don't think either of these are the strong defenses. They both went. Washington State went to a quick passing, 2-step drop, get rid of the ball because the guy can't read a defense and he can't handle the blitz. Cameron Ward, he's not very good. Well, he's one of these fast guys. He's like a Kyler Murray, but he can't read shit. So it's a quick pass. Wisconsin, Mordecai, we know, is very good from SMU. So this should be a 58, a 52, 28-24. I can't imagine this game doesn't get into the 30s. Just too good of quarterbacks here. And I don't know how strong, like Wisconsin's defense. Wisconsin did run the ball a lot. So I'd rather be safe with the over than take Washington State in 11.5, and they can't handle the running game. Here you go. Eastern Michigan, Minnesota. Minnesota 20.5, 48.5. I got to play Minnesota games under like I did last week with Nebraska, 13-10. Eastern I got as a B team. Pretty good defense, but again, who did they play? So I got to – if Eastern has any type of defense, this is totally an under game. Arizona, Mississippi State. I think you asked Arizona. This is the other part of the free play. Mississippi State 9.5 and 59.5. Okay, this is too low of a total. Okay, Arizona has DeLuca, who was the Washington State quarterback for Mike Leach, and he lit it up last year. Arizona was this huge over, and they put up a big number the week one. Mississippi State put up a big number, and they got I think Will Rogers, who was a very good quarterback last year. So you got two good quarterbacks. I don't think the defenses are going to be in this game, and I just love that it's only 59. I got 53 with these teams. That's 28-24. No, it's 52. So 30-24 gets you 54, gets you a W. you're definitely going to get over 30 and 24 with these two teams, these two quarterbacks, good offenses. This is the second free pick. Arizona, Mississippi State over, Wisconsin, Washington State over. Those are the free picks, and I gave you a boatload of others. Temple, Rutgers. Rutgers 8.5, 44. There's our line, which I didn't have before. I think you just go under with it. I don't know where 40 points comes from. Temple's okay. Rutgers, Shiano with the good defense. Temple can't score anyway, so this is definitely an under here. Charlotte, Mary 24.5, 50.5. Down from 52. Mary, good, good offense, no defense. Charlotte, I don't know what they are. They used to have a good quarterback in Reynolds. I don't know if he's still there. I don't think he is. So I don't know. I'm not trusting Maryland against Charlotte. So I'm leaving this game on. We got enough games. Here you go, Bobby. Air Force 13.5, 37.5 to Sam Houston. Sam Houston lost 14-0 to BYU. I looked at total yards. They didn't get 200 yards in the game. So Air Force threw the ball 3 times, 2 completions, 1 75-yard touchdown, and ran it 75 times for like 375 yards. So I like the Air Force here to win. Is it an under? It's going to be Air Force running the ball, so it's going to be run. But they'll score. I just don't see Air Force not winning by 20 here. We only got to win by 7. Let's see. Illinois finally scored, but left 30 seconds left to the half, and Kansas went right down the field. There you go. Well, we're close to the over. The over is 50, and we're at 35 already. I think we'll get there. See, but there's the thing. Illinois is not the same defense. I don't think Washington State is either. That's what you got to be careful of. Kansas is still the over team. Great. Illinois is not the same defense. Washington State's not the same defense. Is Oregon State the same defense? So that's what you really, when the team changes from year to year, the graduation, you've got to be careful of. And that's why you just play it blank. Who is this year's defensive under team and offensive over team? So we found Kansas over last year. We found Illinois and Washington State under. But apparently Illinois doesn't have the same defense, and I'm betting that neither does Washington State. Not from what I saw last year. Wazoo, you like them? I took them over. That's the free pick. Go over with them. Health is wealth, Professor. Yeah, well, it's critical. Jenna's sitting there with her neck all swollen. I've had little trouble with my back, which I think is also a little bit of my weight. So I'd really like to drop another 20, and maybe my back gets a little bit better. Minnesota under. Minnesota's always under. I mean, they're another under team this year. New quarterback. It's a good. The coach is an under coach. So, like, what do I tell you? TCU's an over team. Tennessee's an over good offensive coach. Normally UCLA. USC's coach from Oklahoma. These are over coaches. And then the Minnesota and the Iowa State and the Georgia, these are under coaches. So Kirby Smart was the defensive coordinator for Nick Saban. But he pressures you. So he recruits fast, strong guys, and then he blitzes the shit out of you. And the quarterback goes back to pass, he's sacked. I mean, look at the Tennessee game, the Alabama game. They don't have a prayer. I don't know what he did against Ohio State where he didn't do that. Until the end of the game, he did it, but he didn't do that. It was really surprising. Bobby, your Florida State team, your LSU team, Florida State, where the hell are they? Do I even have them on here? Where's Florida State? Florida State. Oh, yeah, Southern. Here they are. 30.5, 52.5. I would be very leery of this game. Florida State will be flat. This is how you have to understand it. They got sky high for LSU and won. How much effort are they going to put into Southern Miss? Now, I'm sure they'll play a good game, but their emotion will not be the same. They'll be drained. They won, so they're going to be that. So 30.5 is a big number. Us Southern Miss can score, and if Florida State's not on, I don't know what to tell you. If it's probably an over 46.5 would be my guess in this game. But be careful, Florida. Be careful with Utah. Again, they played an emotional game with Florida, and they won, and now they got to go to Baylor. Now, if Chapin was playing, I'd be all over Baylor here. But if Rising was playing, I'd be all over the over, and I'd be all over Utah. So just be careful the next week. Alabama, Texas, you got to be very careful. Whoever wins is going to be flat next week, and the loser will be pissed off. So we hope Texas wins. Texas will be flat. Alabama will be pissed, and we can bet Alabama next week. But right now, we got to just watch. Like I said, my revenge game is Oklahoma, Texas. Hey, Todd. Well, you're not late. That's why it's live, but it's a video. You can always go back and watch. Kansas looks good. Got them on my 8T teaser. Notre Dame, Michigan, Washington State. You got Michigan under, or you got Michigan? I would have played Michigan under. Washington State, yeah, they should be good. It looks pretty good. Yeah, Michigan under. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, it'll be 35-0. They'll shut out UNLV, and they don't score a lot. It's like Georgia. They win like 35-0. They get the lead, and they sit on it, and they tease you by, can you get a first down on us? You're not going to score on us, but can you get a first down on us? Let's see. Oak State 3.5, 53.5 to Arizona State. And as Bobby was saying, both quarterbacks are basically banged up here. Arizona State's quarterback is hurt. Pine, the guy from Notre Dame, goes to Arizona State because the Arizona State guy went to LSU and he sucked. Spencer Sanders left Oak State to go to Mississippi where he can sit on the bench. So it's a real, it's probably an under because I don't know where either team is going to score. I'm going to put under here, 53, under 59. It's probably a really good under. And the USC 29.5, 69.5. This has been 70, then it went to 68. This is an over. You know USC is going to light up 50 points on anybody just about. And then Stanford switch quarterbacks to one of these dual guys, the quick guy, and they lit up Hawaii. Well, that's not the same as lighting up USC. They will not. They didn't stop Hawaii, really. So I think USC puts up a lot. But again, it's hard to bet USC laying 30 because they don't have a defense. So I think you go over with this game. And Auburn, 5.5, 54.5. This is down from 6.5, 54.5. Cal has a super strong running back. Ran for 250 yards against North Texas. They put up 50 points, and it was mostly just handing the ball to him, and he was just gone. Okay, quarterback, Auburn. Okay, they beat UMass, seriously. 54, I think, probably a little null number for these kind of explosive teams, so I think it's an over. But again, you got to be careful. Auburn beat UMass. This is what New Mexico State should have done. And Cal beat North Texas, who's not a bad team. So 48 is 30-24, and we got a winner. And I can't imagine this game up there. Two good offenses is two good offenses. Good luck for Auburn stopping Cal, especially at home. This running back, you watch him, he is just explosive as all hell. Oh, Louisville won 56-0 over whoever Mers is. Cal's defense pretty decent. Yeah, but Auburn's good offense. How many units am I betting this week? I don't know. A lot. You got to go to the picks for that. I got 3 lock teasers. So it's A and B, A and B, A and B. And then I got A with another game and B with one of the other locks. So I'm pretty exotic when I do my teasers. So if I really like, let's say Arizona, Mississippi State, and I play them with Washington State over. So I got both of them over. Well, what I would do then is put Arizona maybe with the Oregon over, let's say. I like that. And then I might play USC with Alabama under, for example. And then the other lock I might play with USC over. So once I establish that I like the game in teasers, you want to play it in more than one teaser. That's the key to betting teasers. When you find the team, that's what, like last week it was Utah. I had Utah -1 in one teaser and then Utah under in another teaser. And this week in the pros, I'm mixing it all up, man. I got 2 strong locks in the pros and the free plays are not chop liver either. The free plays, Houston under and Arizona under. How the fuck are they going to score in that Arizona-Washington game? Well, they're going to go to Joshua Dobbs or they're going to go with Clayton Tune from Houston, who's a rookie. Arizona's not going to score in the game, but then Washington can't score either. Who do they got? They don't even have Tyler Heineke anymore. They got rid of Wentz. They got nobody. So very easily it's like, oh, Houston under with Cal or with Arizona. And then, oh, yeah, let's play him with Washington. Let's play him with USC over. Let's play him with the Alabama under. So as you got a very strong play, I got to play it again. I mean, why not? I mean, it's a joke. So let's play it again. Cal's defense, they still gave up 20 points to Texas, to North Texas. So it was decent last year, but they're pulling in Illinois. It's not as good as last year's defense. And again, this running back, fuck me. He's the first running back in the draft. There's no question. The way he's fast and he's strong. He reminds me a little of like an Earl Campbell, or maybe not that powerful, but he's a stud. Maybe like Chuck Muncie was at Cal. Trying to think. Not Barry. He's not that quick, but he's got that style where he just runs over you and he's got some moves, but he gets 20 yards like this. Just keep an eye on this guy. But yeah, we'll be betting Cal a lot, and we'll be betting the over a lot with them. Bobby, you not betting your silver, are you, Professor? No, I don't bet my silver. I bet my gold, but not my silver. So you like to mix your teasers up by 2 teasers, or do you go for 2 big ones? Well, the locks, I go for higher units. I think I have a 21 or 25 unit lock this week, or maybe 2 of them. And then like I said, let's say Houston under is a lock against Baltimore. If that's the lock, and I got them with Arizona under, because that game's going to be 3-0. Then I'll play them again, and I'll play them, let's say, with USC over. So I like so many games, and then I find Houston's got JT Stroud, so there ain't no points against Baltimore. Baltimore wins 20-0. The over-under is in the 40s, so I'm playing under 50. How the fuck are they going to get in the 50s in the pros with JT Stroud? So it's such a strong play, and then it's like, well, if if that's what it's going to be, then let's put them again. And so that's what I do. But I usually the lock I will play in a big teaser, in a big units, 21, 25 units, when I really, after, usually it's a little early for it now, but usually about week 4 or 5, when I really know the teams and I really see it. And now I realize Illinois is not the under, so I don't get caught in that. And maybe it's Iowa State, maybe it's Georgia. Okay, here we go again with Georgia under. Once I establish what it is, because you can see that you can't even get a first down on this team. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that dominant defense. We know USC is the dominant offense. We know Tennessee is the dominant offense, Washington. So we got the offenses pretty much. It's the question when they play, it's like Ole Miss puts up 73 points. Are they going to do that every week? Well, fuck it. I'm playing them. I think I played them over, or did I play Tulane? I don't remember. But that's what I'm looking for. And then Tulane is explosive. Tulane's a very good team. I'd be very surprised if Ole Miss beats them. Tulane at home, very explosive, well coached. I love their coach. So you got a quarterback, you got a coach, you got a pretty strong. They're a top 10 team, so they're a strong home dog. But they're also an over. So we'll get more now. We'll understand Mississippi. We know Tulane's good, but is Mississippi, so you got to throw out a 73-7, but you got to try to learn something on it. I think they had 700 yards of offense. Well, they ain't going to get 700 on Tulane. And Tulane's going to actually have the ball and run it down the throat and throw it and score. And that's going to so they won't have time of possession there. So that's how you bet teasers. That's what I figured out way back when I'd have Joe Montana, in a playoff game, it's in 3 teasers. I mean, that's how you bet teasers. You find the game, it's Joe Montana, it's Lawrence Taylor, it's the 85 Bears, and you find it and you just pound it. The Bears were just so dominant, and I didn't even play them under that much. It was just play the Bears. But they'd play the Lions, so I'd lock them, once here and then put them with somebody else. And I mean, it was just a joke. But once you find the team, and that's where I can feel it, right? I know it's a win, so I hit it. And I win those 9 out of 10. Once in a while, there's injuries or the wind or something, but normally I'm okay. So you like it's always tempted to throw in more teasers. Well, if I do, let's say I play a 7-team teaser. I played an 8-team teaser with the guy. I get 20% today. So I played it with him. He wants to make it a 10-team teaser. I said, no, keep it to 8. These 8 I love, and let's not play 10. And then I gave him like a 6 or 8-team pro teaser. I said, let's keep them separate. 8's hard enough to win, so let's not go crazy. He asked me, what's my locks? I says, I can't give you that. I can give you 6 or 8 teams, but I ain't giving you my locks. You got to pay for those. So even if you get my 6 teams for a 6-teamer, I'm not telling you the locks. That's only for purchases. Marshawn Lawrence is what Cal's running backs like. I think he's better than that, but similar, real strong, fast runner. Sorry, I meant 2 teams in the teaser. Do you stack up 3 or 4 teams in one? Well, it all depends. Like I have 6 locks going. I can easily play a 6-teamer. Obviously, I love the game. That's why I'm locking them. So therefore, let's say I'm at Vegas. I'd be making my big bets on the 2-team teasers, and I'd be mixing them, and then I'd be probably playing like $20 or $50 on a 6-team teaser because it's hard to win. So you don't want to start betting $500 on a 6-teamer. So I tend to bet a little bit less on them, maybe 50, and then I put the money 500, let's say, on the teasers, on the locks at this stage. I mean, that's what I would do. Now that week when I won the 11-team teaser and the 10-team teaser, the Florida State over Auburn game, I loved all the pros because they all had to win. The 1 seeds and the 2 seeds needed to win for the buys, and there was just a few other games. So I found 7 pro games that I loved, and I threw it in with 3 college bowl games, and I go 10 for 10. And then I found another pro game, so it was an 11-teamer. But I didn't bet that much. I'm not going to bet $1,000 on an 11-team teaser because I don't expect to win it, because there's always that one game that fucks you up. But that was a week. I had 50 tickets, and I won all 50 tickets. And I'll never forget sitting in at lunch, and I was at work and with the guys, and I was going through the winner. It was a joke. I had UCLA in like 3 teasers. I had Michigan State in 3. I had Florida State in 5 teasers. I mean, I had a -1, and it was just one of those moments. I looked at the spread, Florida State -7. They're beating everybody by 50 points, -1. And it was like, the light went on, like, the Twilight Zone. I'm going, that's it. They're going to win. And they did win. They scared the shit out of me, but they did win. And the beauty was that the line went from 7 to 11, so I could trap it with Auburn in 11, and it was beautiful. But just the light went. I knew Florida State was going to win, so that was a good one. So yeah, Bobby. I mean, because you're starting. I don't know what your odds are. Let's say you're 11 to 10 on the 2-team teaser. It used to be even money, and I'm talking at William Hill 2 or 3 years ago. It was even money. So you get odds. So if you get 3 to 1 to pick a 3-team or a 4-team teaser, you like the 4 teams anyway. So it's probably not a bad idea if you've got the strong bets. My ability is to come up with 15 games, and I'm trying to go, wow, I really love, like, okay, we love USC over, we got Auburn over, we got Air Force under, we got Arizona over, Washington State over, Oklahoma over, and they're all good bets. So you're trying to weed out, where's the danger? Which one I can't hit them all. Which one am I going to throw out? And you just dissect them, and that's what you do. You look for the danger, and off you go. So that's really what I'm looking, how I play it. But that I can always find a 10-team teaser to play, but I can't always win them. So, but when I'm doing my teasers, it's easy. Okay, let's play USC over with Oregon over. Okay, it's a good bet. It's a high number, but it's a good bet. And then you hopefully from there you get it does what you think it will. Like last week, Texas should have won by 50, but they didn't. So we didn't get the outcome we expected, but we analyzed the outcome to get the outcome we expected. Like here, Texas, Alabama should be an under. That's what's expected. If they get a lot of turnovers and it goes over, it's not expected, but that's why this isn't 100%. Only Madoff could go 100% in this. Todd, TK, I didn't bet UTSA, but is this a must-win for Harrison team? Who do they got? Texas State. Is Texas State in their division? Keep in mind they lost to Houston. I don't think is in their division. Houston's now in the Big 12. I don't think UTSA is. I don't think both these teams are. I think it's a must-win. I think it's just they're upset they lost, but I would take the game over because Texas State lit up Baylor. And if Texas State puts up 41 on Baylor, there's a good chance they're going to put up 41 on UTSA, and there's a good chance UTSA is going to put up 41 on them. Frank Harris is not going to play 2 bad games. That's why we like betting the studs, because they might have 1 bad game. He threw 3 picks. You ain't going to see him throw 3 picks this week. He's going to throw 5 touchdowns. And Texas State is not the defense Houston apparently has. See, Houston's a surprise team. No defense. They look like they're a fucking good defense. Now they might be our Washington State from last Illinois. The defensive team is now Houston. And that's what we're trying to find. And once we find it, we hammer it, as we've been doing Georgia for the last 3 years, playing them under. And the ironic part is they get the guys injured. They gave up 40 to Ohio State, which we were lucky. We didn't have the under in the game. We had Georgia even. So we got the win. But then when TCU put up 50 on Michigan and they gave up 40 to Ohio State, I said, okay, I'm going to play this over, which is so ironic because I always play Georgia under. And obviously they got to 80 and we won the over in the championship game. But it was just normally they're always under. So I don't know if it's a must win, but let's just say that they're going to come out strong. Harris is embarrassed. Look for a big game from Harris. He's too good a quarterback. Well, I don't know if you call it a must win for UTSA. They're not really a playoff team. Like whoever loses this Alabama-Texas game, it's a must win after that because Alabama's got to play your team, Bobby, LSU, Ole Miss, Old Mississippi State. So they're in trouble if they lose to Texas. They can't lose the other games. They won't be in the playoffs. So if they lose, they're in trouble. Texas loses, then they can't. They got Oklahoma. Well, we know they got to run the table. TCU, Oklahoma, Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas. I mean, Texas is going to be in trouble if they lose that game. So that's a must-win game for both teams if they want to make the playoffs because they won't make it. I still think the best 4 teams, once Rising's back, is Utah, Notre Dame, Florida State, and Georgia. Those are your top 4. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The way Florida State beat LSU and the way, okay, forget Utah, but Notre Dame, let's see them. They got to play Ohio State. Well, Clemson now, they'll kill Clemson. They got to play Ohio State and USC. So if they run the table, and I think they will with Hartman, as long as Hartman's healthy. So that's the key to it. Yeah, Harrison Barrett, yeah. Oh, shit, Todd, I just checked and didn't know that they're going against Rice. Who's going against? No, Houston's going against Rice, Bobby. What are you talking about? UTSA's got Texas State, who's a very explosive team. No, Houston's got Rice. Sorry, I was wrong. I forgot Harris is not in Houston. Don't know what I was thinking. Okay, Bobby. Yeah, no, he's got Texas State, so he's going to be good. But Houston, see, that's probably a defense again. Rice showed a pretty good defense against Texas, but was it a good defense or was Texas just stat and 8 where they settle for 3 field goals and on 4th and 1 against Rice they run it up the middle and don't get it? What the fuck was that? And that's how we lost. If they just convert and get a touchdown or get another field, we win because we lost by like 1 point. Frustrating, but that's what happens. I think that's it. Cal, Auburn, we talked about. And Louisville 56-0. So that is your college analysis. Let's see what we got here on Kansas. Kansas 31-7. Just starting the third quarter. Illinois 2nd and 16. So what we're looking at is Houston really an under team? We know Georgia is. What are these other teams? Notre Dame. Okay, they beat the Navy. And they beat a high school team. I expect them to beat NC State because I don't like NC State's quarterback. And I think they're undervaluing Hartman. Hartman is, they'll win the game with Hartman. He's not going to, he's not going to do the 3 interception thing. I'd be shocked. Colorado, I liked him getting 7.5. I don't like him giving 2.5. I don't know. There was an emotional. You got to be careful with these emotional wins in college and then the next week. Now, the fact Colorado's at home and they're playing Nebraska, I expect them to win. Utah, we got to see if Rising's playing. I don't know, but we're going to keep an eye on them. They are a very strong defensive team, and Baylor's quarterback's out. So I'm expecting probably a low-scoring game here if Rising isn't playing. I heard he might, but I don't buy it. I don't see the line moving. Illinois is about to go for it on fourth down. Yeah, well, 31-7. And then I love the announcers. They're all like strange people. Every announcer loves when they go for it on fourth down, and then they don't get it, and they'll go, "Well, that was they're playing to win." No, they're playing to win. They would play smart and they would punt the ball from their own 20 or 30. That's what a good team does that tries to win. Going for it like the Lions did at their own 17 is terrible coaching. I mean, the Lions, what they fake punted their own 17. Are they out of their fucking mind? And they barely got it. They got it by a yard. If you're going to run that play, it's got to be wide open. And I don't even know why you would even consider a fake punt from your own 17 against Kansas City. Are you out of your minds? So this is the problem with the Lions coach. He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't get the concepts. That's got to be punted. You cannot turn it over. There could be a bad snap, a bad exchange. There could be a lot of things that go wrong in that play that, you really want to take the risk from your own 17. Maybe at midfield. But again, I mean, they just got lucky that Kansas City dropped 15 balls. If Kansas City just plays their game and just catches the balls with their wide open receivers, KC's 14-7 is going to be 35-7. And what was that pick six? Are you fucking kidding me? So like I said, I don't think the Lions are an over this year. They really scored 14 in the game, and that was it against the Chiefs without their best player. And we'll see. And KC dropped all the balls, so that's one game. Let's see who KC's got next week. This will be interesting. This could be our lock next week. Week 2. The Bears. Kansas City is 3 over Jacksonville. Can we load up on it now, or do we have to wait, for week 1 to end? This is going to be a blowout. Kelsey, I assume, is back. The receivers, if they drop another pass, they're off the team. Andy Reid ain't going to – not even Andy Reid. Mahomes is not going to stand for that, all the dropping passes, because that makes him look bad, and he ain't going to take that. 3 over Jacksonville? Are you kidding me? They're going to light up Jacksonville. Holy fuck. Now, I got a friend who's in one of these pick the one winner, and we'll go through this every week. So he's got to pick one. He's got to pick no spread, pick the winner, but you can only use the team once. And now keep in mind, there's only 17 weeks. So you only have to pick 17 teams. You don't pick there's 32 teams. So you're never going to take Houston or Indy or the Lions or a lot of these teams. So this week we went with Baltimore over Houston. Again, it's even. So he's in it for a lot of money, and I get my share if we win it, which with me, we will win it. So we start off with Baltimore over Houston. Again, it's 20-0. And then week 2 is going to be Kansas City, I got a feeling. Although I probably want to save Kansas City for Oakland, or the Lions. Well, no, they play the Lions. Anyway, so that's what we got. So that's KC3. So circle that one on your calendar, boys and girls. Kansas City is going to be very pissed to lose to the Lions on national TV and all the drop passes that they did. And I would assume Kelsey's back, and let's see if they sign their defensive lineman. they're going to be pissed. And that's what you want, is the best team pissed, and they're playing Jacksonville. They're going to win that 10 times out of 10. So that's your college wrap. Free pick, Washington State, Wisconsin over, as they're both pretty explosive now with Mordecai against Ward. In Arizona, Mississippi State, we've got DeLuca from Washington State, the quarterback from last year, Mississippi State, Rogers, both strong quarterbacks, and both 58, 59 over-unders, which we kicked down 6. So we're 52, 53 on those. That's a 30 to 24 game, and we got winners. And believe me, with these quarterbacks and offenses, Arizona, Mississippi State's a fucking joke. I mean, this game will be a 75, and all we need is 53. I mean, that's really what you look for. It's hard to play USC 69 because they can get up 45 to nothing and just rest, right? Because once they're up that much, they don't go. But in this game with Arizona, it's a 53 with two good teams. So when they get a good game, they'll score the points. Oregon, Texas Tech should be similar, but it's 66. So you want to go to Oklahoma is a 69 also. Maybe Texas State, UTSA over 65, 59. So it's hard when they're laying the 70s. Like Michigan, I like under, it's 57. I'm under 63 in a Michigan game against Vegas. Are you fucking kidding me? See, now that's some of these under-overs are like 38, 39, 40. It's hard to go into those. But Michigan at 57, and I'm under 63 in a fucking Michigan game. I mean, where are they going to put up 63 points? I mean, they could play 6 quarters and not get to 63. So that's really what you're like. You're looking for a live under like that. Or even tonight's game, Illinois was only a 56. It's a 50. I mean, that's nothing for Kansas. And now I'm worried, like, is Kansas getting a defense? Because Illinois only got 7. So, again, you grow week to week. That's what we got to be careful of. Is Kansas turning into an A team, or are they an over team? We want the team who's got a good offense and no defense, like Texas State. That's an over team. That's what we're looking for. Ole Miss and Tulane. Ole Miss is an over team. Tulane is not. They got a good defense. UTSA is probably more of an over team. So that's what. But Utah, we know they got a defense. So they're not an over team per se. But Baylor is. Baylor's got no defense. Texas has a defense. So that's what you're looking for. Strong offense, no defense, over, and then you're looking for the over spreads. Like the Arizona Mississippi State game, that's 2 over teams, and it's only 59, and you go over 53. That's a joke. So that's really my point. That's what you look for. Auburn Cal's kind of like that also. 54, you're only 48. So that's why you can't just you want to bang USC, you want to bang Oregon, you want to bang Oklahoma, and they all probably go to 90, but it's a higher, more risk 68, because if you get 50 to nothing, you're not going to get there because they're just going to start running the ball and resting their starters. So you need somewhat competitive. Oklahoma, I think SMU gets there. USC, Stanford, I'm not sure if Stanford, it's not 52 to nothing. And the same thing with the what's the other big one? Texas Tech, Oregon. Oregon could be smoking them, but you would think it'd be high scoring also. Texas, Alabama, I would expect it to be an under there. So you have all that. That's what you're looking for. Okay, we've gone through the picks, and now it's like, do we really want USC Stanford? What could go wrong? Yeah, USC up 52 to nothing, and that's your final. We don't get over because Stanford can't score. So we go, well, let's maybe not play that one. Let's go to the Arizona, Mississippi. That's why I chose it, because that should be a balanced game. If it's 31-30, you're going to get over. And that's what you're looking for in an over. neither team with a defense, good quarterbacking, so it should be high scoring. We got fooled with UCLA, Coastal Carolina. UCLA had a better defense, and no, their offense sucked. And for some reason, Coastal Carolina kept kicking field goals. So that was just strange. That game should have been over. And again, it didn't get there. So they're not all as they seem. Or UCLA's got quarterback problems this year, which we need to understand. And then maybe they got a good defense. So we will see. All right. Any other football talk? Illinois is going. Okay. Did they get the first down, Bobby? Out sucked. Here's where we believe the game gets fixed. You guys talk about fixed games. At the end, what happens? Casey's down 1 point. They get a holding penalty. When does KC get a holding penalty at the end of the game? Never. Never. Not against Cincinnati. And they dragged down that Cincinnati guy twice in that final drive. It's the game's tied at 20. We're probably going to overtime. The lineman drags down the Cincinnati guy not once but twice, and Mahomes escapes. No holding calls. All of a sudden, you're getting a holding call on Kansas City and Mahomes, and he hits the guy for 20 yards. Then it was going to be a field goal in case he was going to win 23-21. That's where you get the fix, is the ref calling the phantom holding call. I mean, that's just ridiculous. The KC receiver, yeah, Tony sucks and needs to go back to the Giants with Daniel Jones. Well, that's probably why Daniel Jones sucked, because he had Tony. But how is Tony this bad? How is he going through practice, dropping every ball in practice? If I'm Andy Reid and if I'm Mahomes, I don't want him on the field. You're goodbye. We're here to win Super Bowls, and we can't win with receivers dropping balls, especially with Kelsey out. Now, was the whole thing fixed? Was Kelsey really injured? And, that's another way you can fix the game, because Kelsey didn't get hurt till Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I already bet the game at 6.5 on I think Monday or Tuesday. I'm laying a half. So I lose, but when it goes down to 4.5 and 3.5, you win. You had a 1.5 or 2.5, so you win with the teaser. If I would have waited, like my guy said, we bet it too early. I go, well, that's unusual. Kelsey gets hurt on the Tuesday of a Thursday game. That's very unusual, very surprising. Now I think Kelsey will be back next game, and they're going to eat up Jacksonville. I got the Jacksonville, Bobby. They're going to kill, and they're only laying 3. You get 3 and KC off of a loss like this. Wow. Okay. Mahomes, like I said, Frank Harris at UTSA, they get pissed. They don't lose 2 in a row like that. I mean, there's no way he's going to do it. So that's what we got. So tomorrow we'll come on just to see point spread changes. Is Rising playing? Another guy who I deal with said, I hear Rising's playing. And I go, I don't. And I'm looking on YouTube. I don't see Rising playing. I don't see the line going to 10. I don't see anything about Rising playing. Now, if he does, knowing Utah, it'll be game time decision. But at this point, I am not assuming Rising's playing. There's nothing that I'm going to sit there and go, Rising's. No, the spread would move. Now, if he does play and there's 7, we're going to bet a lot of money on Utah -1. But I kind of hope, I don't want to bet them because they could be flat from the floor to win. So you always got to take emotion into it. If it's like the Florida State, they're going to struggle with Southern Miss. They're laying 30. Southern Miss isn't that bad, and they've got to be – now LSU is mad, but they're not on the board, or they're playing the Division II team. Again, so what we want to keep an eye on, let's walk through it. We want to see whoever loses the Utah-Baylor game is going to be pissed. But Baylor's got without their quarterback. Miami A&M we're watching to see how good they are, but the loser's going to be pissed. Ole Miss, Tulane. If Tulane wins this game, they'll be flat next time. UTSA, if they lose this game, they're going to go out of their minds. Let's see. SMU, Oklahoma. I expect wins. Look out. And the Alabama-Texas game, the loser is fucked, and they're going to be upset. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Texas gets the W. I'm not taking Alabama -1. I have no thought of taking Alabama -1. Not after last year. Texas had them. Bryce Young does a little bullshit 20-yard run. They kick a field goal with 2 seconds left, barely beating Texas, and Ewer, the quarterback, got knocked out of the game, and they barely beat them. There's no way Texas is going to be on fire defensively. This is the low-scoring game. So that's really the game to watch. Nothing else. I don't think if USC lost, they'll be pissed, but that's what you're looking for, the upset or the big game, right? So LSU, see, you get fucked if LSU plays tomorrow against a high school team and then you can't bet them. That's what happened last week. There was who lost the first with New Mexico State, and then they pounded some Division II team. Or TCU has nobody this week. They got a high school team. That's what sucks about college. You play the game, then they lose, and you know they're going to be pissed, but you can't bet it because it's Division II. That's why, like in the pros, we got Kansas City next week. You got to circle that. That's already your free pick, and then we hope Kelsey plays. That's what you look for in the pros. But it's got to be the strong teams, right? The Niners, the Eagles, the Jets. The Jets and the Bills is another one. The loser of that game will be pissed off and have to win the next game because they're going to be one down, and they can't afford to go down 2 in the standings. Now, I think the Jets win. Better defense, and they're at home, and Von Miller's out for a while. So I think it's now Rodgers against Allen, and Rodgers is the better quarterback. Hate to break everybody's bubble, but I'll take Rodgers over Allen anytime, and their defense is much better in Buffalo. And as you know, we always bet defense in the big games. So let's say the Jets win. Now Buffalo's 0-1, and Kansas City's 0-1. There's your teaser. Buffalo, Kansas City, boom, we'll see who they play. But that's the idea. When you got 2 good teams playing, one of them has to lose, and that's the team you pound. They must win. We locked New England when Brady was out with the suspension for 4 games. And no, it was a different year. They were like 1-2, and they were playing Miami at home. Miami was like 3-0. And if Miami wins, they're 4-0. New England's 1-3, and New England's gone. So New England had to win the game, and it was a lock, and New England won by 50. I mean, that's what you're looking for, is that must-win game in the pros. And that's usually week 3, week 4, but you see who loses week 1, more so than in college. Okay, yeah, Texas, Alabama, the losers in big fucking trouble for the playoffs. That's why it's such an intense game. That's why it's an under. It reminds me of the Michigan, Ohio State old games when they'd all go under. Now, who the fuck knows what's going on with them? But that's what you're looking for, is that key game, the LSU Florida State game last week, and some of those. But when Michigan plays UNLV, it's not. Now, if they lose, it's one thing, but it's going to be, they'll kill them. But that's the problem. There's too much of these games there. So that's it. Your free plays. Again, Washington State, Wisconsin over. Arizona, Mississippi State over. And those are good overs. Those are good lines, good competitive matchups, good quarterbacks. Arizona, Mississippi State's probably a little better because both defenses suck and both offenses are outstanding, where Wisconsin and Washington State had good defenses, but they don't look as strong this year, so we got to keep an eye on that. Hey, Todd, I'll take K-State anytime versus Texas. Got burnt too many times. K-State plays very well. They play the defense and they play the option game. And this Will Howard's a very good quarterback. They won the Big 12 last year. They see what confuses me. They beat TCU in the championship game, but TCU goes to the playoff because they only lost one game and they'd already beaten Kansas State. And Kansas State had 2 losses, but they won the conference championship. So what's the point of the conference championship? Even if you win it, you don't go to the playoff, then what's the point of the game? I have no idea. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But K-State, do not underestimate K-State. Do not underestimate Iowa State. Iowa State doesn't win as much, but good luck scoring on them. Those motherfuckers, they'll play Oklahoma. Oklahoma scores 50 on everybody, and they play Iowa State and Kansas State, and they play them like 24-20. I mean, they're lucky if they get to 30 on those because they just play the 2-deep zone. They put pressure on the quarterback, and they run it down their throats. And that's what Kansas State does very well, is run it down their throats. Now, a big surprise this year is going to be Dallas has Deuce Vaughn, the running back from Kansas State. This guy is outstanding. He should be there. Like Will Grier should start, and I don't even know if Will Grier is on the team. I mean, Cooper Rush is the second. Aren't they watching the preseason with Will Grier? What the fuck? And then you look at Arizona and Washington needs a quarterback. Why don't they get Will Grier? If Dallas doesn't want to start him, I'd take him. You can keep Dak Prescott. He blows anyway. Bobby, or the other time when Brady and the Pats were home dogs against the Bengals, who were like 3-0 with Dalton a few years back, and they punched the Pats at around 150. It was the easiest win ever. Yeah, Brady is an underdog as money. Well, he was. And that's what Mahomes is, and that's what Burrow is. Burrow is an underdog. It's an automatic. I was listening on the radio today, and they think Burrow is 1-6 against Cleveland. The problem is he didn't play in the first 2 games. That's when he hurt his knee, so he's not 1-6 against them. He's I'm not sure he's 1-4 against them. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just looking at Cleveland Cincy, but they're not understanding he hurt his knee. He didn't play in either game. And then they made a comment about, well, they're not good opening day. Well, they beat Pitt, and the guy missed the extra point and went to overtime, and Pitt beat him. So hardly there, but that's just stupid stats. You know, you played 3 times opening day and had Pitt, and then he just couldn't, but not this time. And we don't care about that. We got Cleveland. We got Cincinnati in 3.5. We don't give a fuck about does he win. It's do they lose by 3? And there's no way they're losing by more than 3 because you got to really stab Burrow to beat him. You're not getting up 20 on Burrow. He's not going to let that happen. And as long as he's got Chase, you're lucky to beat him at all. So I don't understand that stuff. So pros we'll talk about tomorrow, I guess. Well, we'll go through college. We went through the pros, I think, yesterday. The free picks at the pros are Houston under and Arizona Washington under. Arizona, okay, I put the scores in. So here's my score. Baltimore 20-0 and Washington 13-3. And those are generous. I'm not sure Baltimore will get to 20 with Lamar. And then 13-3, I don't know if they'll get to 13 with Washington. That's my scores. I put in 27-20 Kansas City yesterday, and it ended up being 21-20, so it was pretty close. But Carolina with Bryce Young, forget about it. Houston with C.J. Stroud, and Indy with Richardson. Good luck betting on those guys. So with this guy who has to pick a different game each week, we're going to go, who are these 3 quarterbacks playing? And that's where we're going to derive 99% of the picks are going to be going against Richardson and C.J. Stroud. It's going to be a joke. We'll just go down. Okay, we're going to take them here, and then why fuck around with anything else? We're just betting against the Z team. That's the method to the madness in these pick 'em even, but you can only pick the team once. Okay, I got 3 teams that I'm going to be able to get my 17 games against. And so week 1, we're going against Houston. Week 2, we might go against Houston again. Week 3, we might go against Indy. I mean, it's just going to be, it's so scientific. It's such a joke. And he said there's like 50 grand in there for the winner. Now it'll grow. And I'm thinking, okay. So he says, you'll get a good tip. I'm like, I better get a real good tip. When I make you a couple $100,000, I better see like 10 grand at the end. I better be able to buy 5 ounces of gold with it. Man, Illinois is struggling just to get a few first downs. You would think Kansas is a steel curtain out there. Well, I'll tell you, does that bad? Is the quarterback suck? Is Kansas is all of a sudden got a defense? This is what you got to know. Is Kansas still the over team? But they're not an over team with a defense. So did they all of a sudden get the Iowa State defense, the Georgia defense? Houston looks like they got it. That's what you take out of last week. Houston just shut down UTSA. I think they got a defense. Now, is Kansas doing that? We know Kansas State's got a pretty good defense. So if Kansas is looking like the steel curtain, then they're an A team and they're going to win the whole fucking division because they're going to be not spread because everybody will be on Oklahoma because they beat a high school team 83-0. And so they're all people overreact to it. You going to two coin store at all this week before getting Chinese? Well, I get Chinese tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. Well, here's the problem with not working. So when I'm working, getting this big paycheck, I'd go buy an ounce every week, and I'm waiting for the paycheck. I'm buying like I bought the 2/10 of an ounces. So I'm thinking about it. It's hard to buy the ounce. So I'm thinking of buying like a couple of quarters or a half ounce. So I still bring them onto the family, but it's hard to spend the $2,000 when you're not working. I went to the bank and I got paid today. I go to the bank, put the money in the safe. Not that I don't trust the banks, but the banks are about to go get exploded. Getting the money out is going to be really difficult. I just see article after article. So I don't leave any money in the bank. And then it's just a matter of how much money do I need in the safe, even though I'm not working, but getting the Social Security, which will pay rent, food, and gas. So theoretically, I'm a break even. My problem is the girls. I gave Daria money I gave her money for 2 implants on the one side, and now she needs 2 implants on the other. And she's like showing me her teeth, and I feel so bad for her. So I gave her some money so she could do the other 2 teeth and get the implants. And she's so happy about it. So I just gave her the money today. So, okay, this is the last big paycheck. Here you go. So I'll have to give her some more money in like 2 months because I guess they put them in and they get the gums ready. And then like a month or 2, they get set and then they put them in. So then we owe a little bit more money. And I said, well, don't worry, I'll pay it. My problem is I'm not going to turn in my gold. The guy at the gold store goes to me last week. He says, we need American Eagles ounces. Do you have any? And I says, sure. But I'm not selling them at 2,000 an ounce. You add a 0 to that and I'll sell them to you for 20 grand. I ain't giving them away like you guys do. I ain't giving it away for 2 grand. You got to be kidding me. There's no fucking way I'm selling my gold at this price. So, then they're at the gold store. They're going, something's going on. I go, yeah, it's called brics, and Russia's behind it. So we're gonna lead into Mark McGuire. This is just Mark. It's only about 35 minutes. Very good video. This one I liked. So we will get into a few key things in a minute. I just checked the silver price. It's at 23.19 in gold. Quit looking at COMEX. Where's Daria again? Daria's in St. Pete. Not. I wish it was St. Pete, Florida. She's the Russian. Jenna. Actually, her name's Jane, but it's spelled Jenna. So I call her Jenna's the one in the Ukraine. And so she wants to go to Greece, which I said we can go to Greece as soon as you're healthy. And Daria, I can't fly to Russia. They won't let me in, and they won't give me a visa. So we might meet in Turkey, but we'll have to see. Probably after she gets her implant, probably like for Christmas or something. I think. I bet Kenzie's listening to this getting mad. She can get mad all she wants. It's funny how both Jenna and Daria send me pictures of the family, pictures at the beach, her implants. They send me videos. It's funny how they can do it on WhatsApp and Kenzie can't. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Even the gal I know in Vegas, she sends me pictures. I mean, somehow she doesn't have the FSB controlling her. So it's just Kenzie, you wanna meet me? Then stop fucking around. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not going to be scammed and just send out money without knowing who I'm sending it to. It doesn't work like that. And I get pictures and videos, and I meet Jenna, and I'll meet Daria. So I'm not worried that they're not real. I know exactly what they look like and who they are. And when they send me pictures and videos of them and the kids, I know that's exactly who it is. And that's the difference. But Kenzie can't do that. So, okay. She's probably screaming at her CPU, send me money. Well, first of all, it's not Kenzie. The name's Ivan, and he's from Moscow. That's who I'm talking to, I would imagine. Or some guy from the Ukraine. Well, the Ukraine guys are all like abandoning it. And maybe a Ukraine guy. It's funny, I heard some guys speaking Russian, but they don't know I don't really understand that much Russian, but I know when somebody's speaking Russian. I'll get the dosidanyas or the pajolsters or the penny maya. Penny maya means I understand, and they say it a lot. So when I hear those key words, I know they're Russian. And I'll make a comment to them like, are you guys Russian or Ukrainian? And sometimes they'll look at me, and sometimes they're probably, if they're from Russian, they won't admit it because of the war. But they don't realize it's U.S. against Russia. That's the war. Ukraine has nothing to do with it. And Zelensky's just killing his own people for the money. He's taking the money from the U.S. and he says, yeah, you can use my soldiers, and they're fucked. Russia's just killing them. Anyway, so let's go to Mark McGuire, the marker.
I got off another medication. I got off I was on that for 3 years.
We don't give a fuck.
Mind-boggling stuff. It's going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think many people have even thought about this. This is a multi-trillion-dollar trade.
They now have to keep printing or we crash.
We've got this ticking time bomb.
Talking gold with the one and only Andrew McGuire. Welcome to Live from the net stable funding compliant over-the-counter gold markets. But what they do miss is that while the LBMA fix sets the global price, the liquidity providers providing foreign exchange gold market liquidity into the NSFR compliant multi-trillion-dollar over-the-counter markets have to be physically backed. And it's these bilaterally settled deliverable over-the-counter markets where this bullion is being picked off by competing central banks. So this leads us into what is happening outside this siloed world of the Fed-contained CME LBMA gold markets. And it is significantly under the radar. Physical gold is acting as the perfect barter currency for the Russian energy trade.
You know, Andrew, you've been drawing a lot of attention to the gold barter trade all the way back from, I believe it's March of 2022. Can you explain how this has evolved, please?
Absolutely, Shane. In fact, really, when we think about it, this barter trade seems to have slipped off the radar until 2 weeks ago, that is. And following Russia officially pegging a gold gram price to its oil trade, that was back in March 2022. We did so much work on this. And this trade has actually not ceased to function. And because it violated sanctions, was kept pretty much under the radar. However, this trade has just become far more sophisticated and at the margin is now severely expanding the Western priced paper gold price from the higher physically deliverable global South determined supply demand price, where there is a whole different view on gold. And while the blinkered pundits sift through one-sided house-gamed CME generated, we talked about COT data, and then people are hand-wringing, looking at what this bank's doing and what that bank's doing. Under all of that radar, something very important is going on under this deliberately obscured smoke and mirrors COMEX data. Namely, a very large drain of global bullion is headed into the Sino-Russia alliance, and because it's occurring outside the CME LBMA ring fence, it's totally unreported. Now, following the BRICS summit winding up 2 weeks ago, and while the mainstream media, as you rightly say, Shane, they've glossed over the multiple sideline meetings that actually went on in South Africa, no mentions of them. The mainstream media has actually been vocally gloating that no currency agreements were agreed. Yet no mentions at all of last week's meeting that followed on in Moscow, which appears to have moved on to this subject. Now, while Glazier's option one commodity currency, we discussed this, it was the STR-like currency basket, that was the sole focus of the mainstream medias and, of course, the bloggers. And based on last week's footprints, we have sufficient evidence to discern that option two, which was the gold-backed commodity basket, is actively actually on the front burner. And Russia has the wherewithal and the gold and the energy resources to aggressively drive this gold-backed currency forward. Now, we're not taking sides here. We're talking about gold and as it fits into the global landscape. Now, this all makes total sense. Now, look, the SDR-like basket of national currencies will ultimately, one day, it will come into fruition. But given the current trade balance disparity between the bulk of these BRICS nations, which it is such a disparity, so it can't work. And of course, we see the commodity basket currency is perhaps some 2 to 3 years away from creating the required basket weight formation to actually be equitable.
No, Andrew, it looks like talking about this, it looks like that the mainstream media has really got this wrong when it comes time to the BRICS alternate currency. They got this threat wrong. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, Shane, absolutely. And as far as the mainstream media is concerned, what they and their narrative masters focus on is how imminent a BRICS de-dollarizing process is. Is it or is it not? And with the BRICS currency discussions looking like a damp squib and no immediate threat to the dollar hegemony, the win-lose narrative has provided sufficient comfort to them to take their eye off Glazier's golden ball, which is actually indeed in play. And as we indicated a few weeks back, when Glazier recently outlined his two proposed currency baskets, he made it clear they would serve really two separate purposes. But what has failed to be realized is that the SDR-like currency basket could not be implemented without first establishing the gold commodity price leveler. In order to bridge the immediate chasm is for each member country to accrue physical bullion, and Russia is aggressively facilitating this trade. So the major commodity currency focus is on the second basket, backed by physical gold bullion, comprising of 20 of the most liquid commodities from oil to grain. Now, Russia produces...
So we'll get back to that in a minute. Anyway, so what he's saying is everything, the Russians coming out with the gold currencies, a given, that the press is ignoring it because they don't want everybody scared. If we don't tell you about it, then it's not going to happen, I guess. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. But this is what we're waiting for, Bobby, is this gold price. So he said earlier how COMEX is just, they're doing the ring fence around it, which means they're coming up with a different way to buy the gold, not that. And then COMEX can't do the paper derivatives without gold. So they can't write 1 million ounces of gold without having 1 million ounces of gold. So that's all going to stop soon, which is what we're waiting for, which is what you're saying, 1942. Soon you'll be adding a 0 to the end of that and 2 zeros to the end of the silver. So we're getting very close to what we are been waiting for. So he's just elaborating BRICS. They're coming out with the gold currency, but the press won't talk about it. So that's what he's saying. So we're very happy from that, from the gold standpoint and the silver standpoint. Everybody says when. Well, here is when. It's very, very soon. So let's see. There's one other little.
Trillions, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, this is mind-boggling stuff. It's going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think many people have even thought about this. This is a multi-trillion-dollar trade. This is what we're seeing happening right now is all in preparation for when Russia takes over the chairmanship of the BRICS in January 2024. It's only a couple of months away. And the Sino-Russian alliance is accruing physical gold in preparation for this, to power Glazniev's 20 commodity gold-backed currency. Now, Russia has turned up competing. What they've done is turned up competing to get spot gold and futures liquidity. And as we will explain, along with the UAE, Saudi is seeking to ultimately control the bulk of the price-setting mechanisms of pretty much 80% of global oil production. And with Russia being the most sanctioned of all the BRICS countries, it incentivizes Russia to lead the way in looking down the gold, and really just lock down the gold element. You need to power this currency with that, of the current multi-trillion-dollar trade. And that is a multi-trillion-dollar trade. So is the dollar is, gold is, and oil is. I mean, all these things come together. It cannot be ignored. And gold will become the beneficiary of this multi-trillion-dollar trade. What escapes most pundits is that the only competing multi-trillion-dollar foreign exchange currency versus the dollar is multi-trillion-dollar foreign exchange gold. This market is beyond most people's comprehension because they're locked inside the casino. And the Sino-Russian alliance, what it's doing is capitalizing on the fact that foreign exchange gold is now both physically backed as well as a first-tier asset class. Again, something that's ignored. And the footprints are there to see, despite the ruble significantly weakening against the US dollar, almost to the point when initially sanctions were placed against it. We have for some weeks now been evidencing a consistent spot gold premium being offered by Russia for bullion, significantly over and above that set at the PM fixes, which we've just seen one of. This is also evident in the gold-backed Moscow futures contract. However, these Russian gold premiums really expanded last week, and they're holding strong again this week, very strong. This is no coincidence. So what's going on? It's actually simple. Russia is actively bartering energy for gold and offering a much higher gold price to attract these bullion inflows. This is just the thin end of the wedge, serving two main purposes, really: attracting global bullion inflows with a view to ultimately backing some of the 20 most liquid commodities, all of which are traded between BRICS members, of course, while also serving Russia to swerve sanctions. Now, through our Russian contacts, we've been verifying this is all the hallmarks of a fresh mandate to attract gold bullion flowing into Russia, and notably under the cover of the CME LBMA gamed fixes, which only serves to rinse specs, these spec cartels' useful fools, out of their paper positions. These unleveraged physical bullion outflows are sucking leveraged physical liquidity out of the LBMA ring fence into the directly competing Moscow spot gold and Moscow COMEX competing physically backed.
So what he's saying is they're selling the oil for gold, and COMEX is still sitting there with this low price. And because it's tier one in the Basel III, they have to have the physical. So Russia's buying all this COMEX at this cheap price, and they're just hoarding the gold for oil and to come out with the gold-backed currency. And the price of gold is just, like I said, Bobby, I don't think 50,000 is even close to what it's going to be, because they're just going to, you got to understand, it's a very limited, gold is not a lot, right? What was it? 244,000 tons is not a lot of tons. It's not even 1 million tons, right? It's 244,000 tons. That's it. And the central banks, China's got 60 and Russia's got 32, 92,000 tons of the 244. How much is left? So we can go buy our little ounces at the store, but they're buying blocks. They're buying tons. And so there ain't a whole lot left, and COMEX is running out. I don't know what they're doing, but they're not going to be allowed to keep doing this. So very quickly, you're not going to see this 1942. So that's why I say don't look at it. And then as it goes, silver goes. So you're going to see at least 1 to 2 zeros added to silver. Silver will be 500 to 1,000 soon, and then to 2,000, and then to 5,000. And much higher probably. They keep saying it's an industrial metal. Bullshit, it's money. Gold is money. Is this an industrial dollar? Is this used to make what? Toilet paper? Kleenex? Can I make Kleenex? Can I use this? Where's my Kleenex? So I got Kleenex. Is this used to make Kleenex? And that's what I'm saying. So you're gonna just see this go through the roof. All right, let's go a little more with Mark McGuire.
Platforms. And the footprints are so clear. Despite a severely weakened ruble, as we've said, against the dollar, that is, we've evidenced extremely large premiums being paid to attract bullion into both Moscow futures and these spot live contracts. Now, these premiums have at times been massive. And while Moscow live spot gold consistently trades as an actionable premium to live London spot over the course of the last 2 weeks, Moscow gold-backed futures have commanded as high, get this, as a $41.70 per ounce to the December COMEX futures contract, and has also been directly competing with further out all the way to April 2024 futures, which is trading at a $40 premium to the front month COMEX December contract. Now, think about that. Most mornings in Asia, we see a very conservative $20 to $30 premium to COMEX futures, but these expand into the COMEX pit opens. I mean, I just checked just now, just before we started recording here, we're evidencing a $46.50 premium to December futures. Obviously, the volumes are a fraction of the COMEX flows, but Moscow futures are physically deliverable. And the point is, each ounce of gold that exits the CME LBMA ring fence unwinds highly leveraged paper gold, and it is at the margin that the gold price reset will be driven. It's leveraged. This gold is so heavily leveraged that it's flowing out. And if you think about it, this is not a bad barter for an energy buyer who's forced to stump up dollars anyway for energy at the quoted market price. So oil, whatever it might be, gas. Instead, what they do is simply EFP, the paper diluted COMEX gold, into the NSFR compliant deliverable dollar denominated spot gold, or you just buy foreign exchange spot gold priced in dollars anyway at the COMEX influence swap price in London. But what you're doing is you're keeping your bullion purchase to sizes below the size level that would result in large discoverable bilaterally settled premiums. Then what you do is you exchange the cheaper dollar price gold bullion for Russian oil, energy, grain at a higher dollar denominated price in Moscow. So this ends up as a discount for the energy and inflows of physical bullion to back a larger plan, BRICS-backed commodity currency. That's what's going on. And also, while Moscow's spot is consistently trading at a $1 to $3 premium to London, we've seen Moscow spot commanding up to $10 premiums per ounce to spot. And that's a T. Bear in mind that London spot is T+2 deliverable. It has to be settled. It's backed by physical. And bearing in mind that once secured, all of these 2-day delivery flows are off grid. And this bullion is being paid to Russia in exchange for energy. And feedback points to this bullion activity actually being directly related to the gold-backed commodity currency to be officially launched before or after Russia takes over the BRICS in 2024. So it's happening. And so basically, what we're saying is this trade is underway. And also, as Glasdiev predicted, the trade is attracting multiple brokers to facilitate this trade, providing an increasing depth of necessary liquidity to fund what will ultimately be to serve 80% of the multi-trillion-dollar energy trade. As I said, the trade is underway. Now, Glasdiev reports that this currency boilerplate has already been largely agreed by BRICS members. And we did mention India and China really officially watching from the sidelines. However, feedback from our good contacts in Russia still indicate no opposition and a readiness to participate. But obviously, they don't want to sort of fall on the wrong side of aggressive U.S. sanctions at this point. India is very worried about it. China is trying to bat that away. But of course, they're going to gradually adopt this currency. By next year, the BRICS conference, which is Russia presiding, will likely formally announce these already developed new currency units have become, as they put it, the new method of settlement in the international trade between BRICS countries. That's what it was labeled as. And this is undoubtedly Glasdiev's option to gold-backed trade being implemented right now. And the process looks to have stepped up following meetings in Moscow last week. And currently, this trade is largely related to energy, but looks to be in the process of pricing some other Russian-priced commodities, including grain to Africa. Notably, all of this activity is occurring outside the CME LBMA ring fence and significantly skews the published data, but will severely impact paper-diluted Western gold market liquidity. So really, if I want to sum this up, what we're saying is, in summary, the mainstream media is not ready for the launch of Glasdiev's gold-backed new world economic currency. And while they obsess that the dollar is king, BRICS Plus is not focused on destroying the dollar, simply adding a competing gold-backed currency to facilitate settlements of a very large component of the current US dollar-denominated global commodity trade. It's that simple. And while Russia currently provides a large energy discount to attract a bullion, even allowing physically backed futures to lock in very large trade at settlement discounts as far out as April, once the currency has sufficient liquidity, it will set the global price. The inflationary aspects for the Fed and the Western dollar-denominated commodity prices will be massive. We talked about this before. And at the margin, the increasing demand for gold to back up this multi-trillion-dollar trade will increasingly raise the offer price of gold in the global markets and place the wrong-footed Fed further on the back seat. And as we've also identified, this energy trade is enabling Indian buyers to step up in circumventing the CME LBMA ring fence while taking advantage of the gamed global PM fixed prices that benchmark real physical exchanges outside the LBMA. Liquidity providers also report off-grid settlements bleeding into all the physical exchanges benchmarked at these two COMEX-diluted PM fixes. So given the consistent spot premium offered by Russia this lack of Asian market flow through the rigged LBMA London fixes that we've just seen just now is misinterpreted as a lack of interest in gold, whereas these flows are and will increasingly be facilitated through other channels as they evolve, of course. So first-year market-making banks will be aware of this, whereas the Fed, the only central bank still short gold, is once again wrong-footed. Is it really any wonder every participating central bank except the Fed is openly and surreptitiously accumulating physical gold? And as Tom Lungo rightly points out, and I read something about him with him the other day, it was really good. He says, yeah, quite right, Russia's at war with the West, so of course Vladimir Putin will talk his book on de-dollarization. He is the point man on the BRICS being anti-dollar. But according to the latest data from the SWIFT RMB tracker, there is no currency that has lost more ground in the global trade than the euro. And in just over 2 years, the euro has fallen from 39.5% of global payments outside the Eurozone to just 13.6%. Now, we also see this as the US price influenced European gold markets, influencing them tremendously, which are also evidencing a drain of physical into gold into Russia. So talking about a drain on physical at current prices, guys, how much physical do you own?
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely. So you can see BRICS is coming out with gold-backed currency, and he's saying it's going to fly. So the gold price is going up. So to answer everybody's question, when? It's very, very soon, because Russia's already coming out with the gold-backed currency. They're already doing oil in gold, and the COMEX has to have gold backing now. They can't just write a bunch of printed derivatives. And so you're going to see the price just go to the moon. So, that's why it's hard for me to not go and buy another ounce here and another ounce there. That's what's frustrating about when I am working. I buy as much gold as I can. And when I'm not working, I got to be careful with my money. But in the end of the day, I can always sell an ounce of gold. But I'm trying to be smart about it and go, if I can hold it until it finally goes, and not have to trade it in to pay rent or eat, I'll be fine. So that's kind of where I'm at, but I'm sure I'll buy a more, that's why I like the quarter ounces and half ounces. You get it, but it's only, a quarter ounce is only $5.50 or so. So you might as well buy those. And I don't care about maple leaves or Cougarans. It's fine. Or the full harmonics. I don't need the U.S. gold. An ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. It don't matter what it's stamped on. That's where everybody's confused. They're buying the gold, or they're buying the Buffalo, the gold Buffalo U.S., but they pay more for it. And at the end of the day, the ounce of Cougaran and the ounce of maple leaf is an ounce of gold. That's what we're buying, because you can see they're selling it. It's gold, not Canadian gold or U.S. gold or Russian gold or China gold. So that's really the key to it. So BRICS is turning up the heat. They want to compete. They don't like being sanctioned. And so Putin is just turning, but he's doing it as a competition to the dollar. They're not trying to get rid of the dollar, but what would you rather have, gold or you want this or gold? Or to put it bluntly, do you want to be on the Titanic or do you want to be on the gold ship? Which ship do you want to be on? Which also means you get the fuck out of the stock market and the bond market and out of the banks, because they're all paper and they're all going to crash with these high interest rates. But if you're in gold, you're in good shape. I went to the bank today to take some money out because I got paid, and just kind of laughing at the investor who wanted to put me in an annuity. He wants to put me in an annuity. I'm like, fuck you. Why would I want to be in paper? I don't want to be in this. If you're giving me 9% in an annuity, 5% in the money market, or a T-bill at 5%. I don't want to be in this because this has no value. I need to be out of all this. I want to be in gold. That's what they don't get. They're missing the whole point. Any paper instrument in a bank, a money market, a CD, a real estate trust, any of that. It's in dollars. You've got to get the fuck out of the dollars. It's just they're losing value and gold's going to go through the roof. So what do you want to be in? And gold's safer because you can't fucking print it, as he's saying. It's just about all gone. COMEX doesn't have much left, and they keep at this price. They're going to have to raise the price because you can get it for Russia much. You can get more for it to Russia. So we're going to sell it at 1945 on COMEX and buy it for 2,100 on Russia until it finally goes 21,000, and that's where we're headed. At least I think 50,000. I think is very conservative now after what I heard. So that's what we got. Anyway, I think that's about it. I'm tired. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll look at football. I wanted to talk about Mark McGuire a little bit. I haven't seen much of Egon or Alligator lately. And we can go from there. But otherwise, good luck tomorrow. Again, your free plays, Washington State, Wisconsin game over, and the Arizona Old Mississippi State game over. 3 college locks going tomorrow, which ain't them. And 2 pro locks. So I got 5 games that I love. And see, if you bought the locks, you could play a 5-team teaser, as Bobby's suggesting. That's when I would play the 5-team teaser. And then I put them in multiple teasers. So lock 1 is probably with lock 2, and then it's over with lock 5. Or it's with this Houston, or it's with Old Mississippi State or something. So you got to be cognizant with that. Anyway, I think that's about it. I'm tired. I was up early. And I'm going to relax, and I will be back, I guess, about 11, because we got this big noon show. So, okay, yeah. We got the big noon show. So I was just looking. So like my Arizona free play, I got in 2 teasers. That's how I play it. I got it in 2 teasers. It's tomorrow at about 11 because they got the noon kickoff. So I'll talk about those first, and then we'll get into the other games and probably into the pros. Those are Sunday. What did you think, Bobby, about Mark McGuire? Are you a little bit more calm now about the gold price going to the moon after he's saying that all the gold and oil and the Russian gold and the COMEX blowing up, and they're going with competition to the dollar with gold? Gold has to be revalued at a much, much higher price. So does that make you feel better? Hey, Jay. Teaserking, Your Highness, what is Colorado spread? -3? You think it will be that close? I think it's -2.5. I saw. Do I think it'll be that close? Well, the question is, Nebraska played to a 13-10 game against Minnesota, who doesn't have that good quarterback. I don't know that they're going to run away and put up a 40 on Nebraska. But Nebraska's a bad team. Matt Rule comes in. All right, so let's say he blitzes him a lot more because he can't defend him. That might cause some turnovers. So they could play. Is Colorado really that good after one game? And that's where the overreaction, and that's where they could be flat this week. I don't think they'll be flat because they're at home. But I'm not sure it'll be that easy. I don't see them winning by 20. However, they certainly could, but I don't think it'll be that easy against not that Nebraska's that good, but just the defense. They'll play a cover 2. They'll blitz him more, and let's see how he handles it. But I think Colorado definitely is, should win the game. Again, I've teased it. I got +4, I think. So but I didn't lock it. I don't love it. I like it. I saw the +7. So I got +13 in Colorado. It was +7 Monday afternoon. I'm eating dinner up north. It's +7. I go, holy shit. Like I get Colorado and 13 in, and then 2 hours later, I'm home and the spreads is Colorado -2. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? How did that happen? So I'm all excited getting this. I don't know where the line +7 came from. Like Nebraska, Tom Osborne's not there. So I think Nebraska doesn't have an offense. I think Colorado will score. Again, I don't know that it'll be that easy, but they should take care of Nebraska. They're not a very good team. They'll have trouble against, let's say, Utah with that defense, especially if Rising's playing. That'll be a high-scoring game. They got to play USC, will be a very interesting game. And UCLA's got to get their act together. Arizona will be a 100-point game. And if they have to play Oregon and Washington, at Oregon and Washington, they're going to have trouble there. They won't win at Oregon or Washington. Let's take a quick look at their schedule. Now that my appetite's wet. Oh, I turned right to it. All right, Colorado. So after Nebraska, they get Colorado State. They win. Now, here you go. At Oregon, that's a loss. Home against USC, that's a loss. They don't have a defense. USC is going to put up 60 on these guys. Oregon the same, but at Oregon, the defense is there. They win here at Arizona State. Stanford maybe. At UCLA will be tough. Oregon State will be very tough. Arizona will be tough. At Washington State and at Utah will both be incredibly tough. So they're going to get their wins when they can. They could go 3-0, and then Oregon and USC. I don't like them they're only over bets is all you can play because they don't have a defense. So I think they can win with Nebraska. I got +4. I think even at worst, it's a close game. Again, primetime will probably play and primetime junior and everything. So they got a good offense. I think they're prepared for a blitz from Nebraska. We'll see. Bobby, yeah, but haven't heard anything from Alligator for a while, and I know his word holds a lot of weight too. Well, and Egon, the Eagle. But this was good. See, this is the difference in his show when he's alone and he's talking about this. Then he gets a guest on, and the guest is clueless to what's going on. He doesn't add value. And that's why I hate when the guest is on. I want to hear Mark McGuire talk like that about this. You want to hear me talk football or gold. You don't want me to have a guest unless it's General Chow talk about it. You want to hear me talk about it. I want to hear Mark McGuire talk about it. I don't need an idiot guest who wants to start selling gold paper. Incredibly idiot PhD who doesn't understand the gold price is going to go way up. So even though you made these 1/20th of an ounce paper, well, what are you fucking doing? That's not. You're trying to use it as currency, but when gold hits 100,000 an ounce, what good is it? And it won't be priced like that. The whole thing, he's clueless. What do you think they priced everything in Rome? They had gold coins in Rome. What do you think they priced it at? One gold coin bought, a tenth of an ounce of gold probably bought milk and bread or whatever they made in Rome. But again, that's what you do. See, right now you're priced in dollars. So milk will be a tenth of an ounce of silver will buy it, or you're going to sell your silver for this. This is the medium of exchange. That's why this is important. That's the point of it, not for the value. So you can go to the grocery store. So I can get paid and take it and buy gold or buy milk or buy Coca-Cola or whatever I buy with it. That's the whole point of a medium of exchange. I can work, get paid in it, and then use it to buy other goods and services. That's the idea of a medium of exchange. Gold and silver is not really the medium of exchange. It's an asset like my Canadian Club 12, right? This is an asset. The Rolex, the Mantle card, the Berry card, the Bobby Bow card, Those are all assets. Those aren't medium of exchanges per se. I'm not, like they say, I'm not going to the grocery store with the Mantle card or the Montana rookie. I mean, I'm going to sell those and take the money, take the medium of exchange to buy goods and services. That's what I'm going to do with those assets, right? It's like the house. You're going to take your house, you're going to take your garage to the grocery store to buy milk and bread, or you're going to take your car and drive it into you're going to drive it into Kroger's and say, here, I need cheese and some milk and some meat. I mean, this is how stupid these people are. You sell it to get the medium of exchange. The problem is this is fucked as a medium of exchange. This is not any value. And the problem is people see gold and they see this fake value by COMEX and they think, oh, gold doesn't do anything. That's the value of gold. But what is the value of this? And this is the value of this. This has now gone down to 1 cent. This is now the value of your dollar, 1 cent. But you don't know it because they're not keeping that track. They track it against the other bullshit currencies. Oh, look, the dollar's stronger against the euro. What the fuck does that mean? The euro's, like he said, it's going out too. It's a terrible currency. It's printed like water paper. Bobby Bo's on a roll. Kansas just made the stupidest play call ever. They're still up and will win, but making things interesting for no reason. Well, what was the call, Bobby Bo? You can't bring me that. Teaserking is the GOAT. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. I do my best, but I'm very good at critical thinking and the intuition. So I'm very good at picking the games. Are we over, Bobby? Did we get the over 51 in the game? I mean, you're not giving me scores. You're telling me they made a bad call, like a fake punt at their own 17, like the Lions did. Good God, what an idiot team they are. See, I see it for what it is. It's an idiot team. The Lions are terribly coached, but what did they say? Oh, well, they won. You know, okay. They won because Casey dropped 10 passes, okay. And then they won, you know, they got a pick six. Okay, fine. So they won the game. You can't argue with it. You think they're the better team? I don't think so. They just had a 4th and 3 with 3.5 minutes left. And instead of punting and making Illinois work, they went for it by running it straight up the middle and got stopped. Well, what's the score? I mean, is it getting close that we need to worry about? Why wouldn't they punt? This is the problem. These guys go for 4th down like it's 50, like it's a 90%. It's like going for 2, like it's a 90% fact. And 4th and 3, I guarantee you, is probably 10%. You're going to get 4th and 3, and the coaches go for it. This is what blows my mind. Like it's no problem. Well, fine, Bobby. If you're not going to tell me, I'm going to see what the score is. Let's see. Yeah, it went way over. There you go. Kansas is going to go over. Let's see. Give me a score. 34-23. So we're out. It's not way over. It's 57. The over-under was 56. We needed 51, I think. So, yeah, we did get the over. But it's close. See, Illinois is scoring, which is good. So that means Kansas is an over team, which is what we want. It's a 57. Illinois, we see, is not an under team. That's how I analyze this game. Illinois was a very good defensive team that this year they're not. They gave up 28 to Toledo and 34 to Kansas, 2 pretty good offensive teams, and they're putting up 23. So, again, it's a 57. Well, why is the ball at the 26-yard line? Didn't they punt? Or where was that where they went for it on 4th and 3? Was the Illinois 29? Okay. So this is fine. This was always an overplay, but now we understand Illinois better. Now we won't bet Illinois under. We will bet them as a kind of I don't know if they're a weak team, but in the Big Ten, they got to play. Wisconsin should light them up. Not Iowa, not Minnesota, not Nebraska. We'll see who else they play, but That's a pretty low scoring side of the conference they're in. Sad part is I think Illinois offend them not good enough to capitalize anyway. Oh, offense is not good enough. Okay. Well, it's 3rd and 16 at the Illinois 26. So Kansas must have been at well, let's take a look. Getting information from Bobby can be very hard sometimes. So if we go to drives, let's see where, 7th place. Yeah, 4th and 3 at the Illinois 33. That's a whole different animal, Bobby. No, I would have went for it because it's a long field goal. And if they get it, they're going for a touchdown. So I don't have a problem 4th and 3 at the Illinois 33. I have a problem 4th and 3 from the Kansas 33. But no, that was fine at the 43. That I don't have a problem with that. 4th and 16 at the Illinois 26. See, I don't like this Luke Altmaier. Not the best. Let's see what the stats are. So if we look at the stats, my Bean, I'm sure, had a big day. Oh, Daniel started. I'd rather have Bean. He's better. 21 of 29, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Yeah, that's Daniels. Altmaier, 19 of 27, 1 touch and 1 pick. See, you're not getting enough touchdowns from him. Neal, 10 rushes for 20. So Kansas has 2 good running backs. Neal and Hinshaw ran for 100. Illinois doesn't have anybody. Here's the problem with Illinois. They don't have running. The quarterback run 13 times for 70 yards, and he throws 19. So it's a one-man show, and we know they don't win, Lamar Jackson and those. Where Daniels runs a little bit for Kansas, 11 times, but for only 24 yards. But the backs ran big, and he threw for 277. So Kansas is pretty balanced. Good running. Illinois does not have the running. Luke passed, intercepted. Did we get a touchdown? By player intercepted for no gain. So now they'll run the clock out. 1st and 10 at the Kansas 33. How can it be at the Kansas 33? Isn't it at the Illinois 33? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But, well, that's good to know. So Kansas can be a pretty good dog then if they have some sort of a defense. But again, this is Illinois. Let's see what they do against Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech, TCU. TCU's got a pretty good quarterback. They didn't know how to defend prime time. Nebraska, they're just too weak offensively Colorado will get some points, but don't think Colorado's going to play 45 points every game. They might against Nebraska, but as we see, they got to go. All right, Colorado State, they'll probably win. At Oregon and USC, forget about it. No chance. Then they can beat Arizona State and Stanford. At UCLA will be tough. Oregon State, Arizona, the rest are tough. At Utah and at Washington State. At Washington State, they might. That's going to be a high-scoring game, but at Utah, they lost 63-21 to Utah last year. Now, I can't say because it's a whole different team, but see, so that's the whole point. You're looking, Kansas is an over team, you bet them over. You don't fuck around, you don't bet them under. Illinois is an under team, so you're determining, hey, they're not an under team this year. Probably a lot because they can't run the ball. I think they were an under team, not necessarily because they had this great defense, because they had a great running back. So they were running the ball, resting their defense, keeping the other team off the field. I think that's what they did more or less last year. This year they don't have running, so they're probably the same defense, but without running, they can't eat the clock and they can't rest the defense, and so these other teams are scoring on them. That's, I think, what's happening. But that's how you analyze the game. You look at the box score and see what the fuck's going on. Kansas has 2 strong runners, plus the quarterback runs a little, and then they have Bean as the backup, who I like better. He's a better quarterback. Daniels likes to run a little bit, but they're both accurate, and I love the coach. Kansas has a good coach. So there you go. So I think that's about it. I'll look for an alligator for you, Bobby. Egon's been on, but Egon's got a lot of older ones, like 6 months ago, and it's all the same. Oh, Egon had a thing. I'll try to find it for you tomorrow, Bobby. He does not like Bitcoin. Egon says this is bullshit. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. He does not like it at all. And, I guess if you're like an Austrian or economist, you look at Bitcoin for what it's worth. In other words, what did we watch? Adam Smith, and what does he do? He sees, again, this is 1700s, and there's the baker, and everybody wants scones. And so the other baker on the other side sees that they all want scones, and he starts making them. But what do you see here with Bitcoin? Does anybody want it? No. How does it go up in value? It's a Ponzi scheme. It only goes up in value if somebody buys it to drive the price up. But if you're not buying it to drive the price up, the price doesn't go up. Well, that's not what gold does. And gold is not because the dollar goes down. Gold is just like the Tom Brady card. Why is the Tom Brady card got $1 million? Because it's the Tom Brady card. It's got nothing to do with the dollar. And that's what gold, and they keep trying to make it sound like gold's only good if it's an emergency, if the dollar's got bullshit. If you let gold run to its real price, the thing would be $100,000 for the ounce right now. If you got off of, just let it run. This is the problem you have. All right, 3 hours. My mental capacity after working 9 hours today is done. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and we will talk college football, and then we'll go into the pros. Because I know you guys are interested in the noon games and that, but we talked about them. So anyway, be careful of these big emotional games the next week. Florida State, Utah, they might win, but it's just emotionally they can't get to the level they were at. So it's going to be less emotion. So they might win, but will they cover? I know Florida State's 30. Be careful there. And then Utah, okay, the quarterback's out for Miller, but how good's their backup? That's really what you need to understand in college. The backup could be better. And you don't know, and you get blindsided, and then you lose because you didn't know Joe Montana was the best. Joe Montana was the 8th string quarterback his freshman year at Notre Dame. How'd you like to get fucked on that? Well, the first 2 guys are out. Here comes Joe Montana, the 8th string quarterback in, and he lights you up because he should never have been the 8th string quarterback. And that's really the point I'm making. All right, the game's over, 34-23, so it's a 57. You're welcome, Bobby Bo. Thanks for being here. Luke wasn't here to bother you. I don't really want to block Luke because I met him at the airport, but he can't torment you like, is it really you? Is it really you? Who the hell is going to say I'm Bobby Bonilla 420? Okay, if I'm going to play Kenzie, I'm going to be Tom Brady. I'm going to be LeBron James. No offense, Bobby. Don't take offense. I'm going to be those guys. I'm going to be Warren Buffett. That's who I'm going to be if I'm making it up. Like Kenzie being an adult star, she, so anybody can be her. That's the problem I have with her. So you got to be careful there. 34-23, game is over. So anyway, like I said, no offense, but I don't know what Phil's problem is. I don't know why he cares. Over 50 is a winner. They win by 11. So actually Kansas, I was hoping would have been the dog, was the favorite. So I laid away from the the team pick. That's why I go over unders. Football should be good tomorrow. I agree, Bobby. I really love my picks. I love the locks, the free picks. Believe me, I don't like when I give a free pick and it loses. It pisses me off. Because I know you guys are betting them. I don't want you guys to lose. I want you to win so you can buy gold and silver. So I picked some pretty good ones that I'll tell you, if that Arizona-Mississippi State game doesn't go over, I'll be shocked. I'll just be shocked. I don't know. Maybe Mississippi State's got a great defense. Hard to say. That's the problem, but they beat these high school teams 73-0. You're not – is the defense that good? But I don't think so. All right. Have a good night. www.teaserking.com. I'll look for some things, but I think we'll talk football tomorrow and Sunday, and then Monday we can get back a little more into economics now that I'm going to be home. I do have an interview at 1 o'clock on Monday. Amazingly enough, it's hilarious. I'm already got an interview. So anyway, I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great weekend. Good luck tomorrow. Again, it's Washington State over, Arizona over with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and 3 locks, and then 2 locks on the pros. You got the free picks, Houston under and Arizona under, and a couple other strong plays. Again, you won the KC game if you bet it yesterday, getting 1.5 or 2.5. I lost it laying 0.5. I can't believe they lost. I can't believe they got the holding penalty and then kicked the field goal at the end. That's not – normally they don't get the holding penalty, so that's really strange. Anyway, have a nice night. www.teaserking.com if you want to get the picks. If you want to get my email and ask me some other questions. But I like that I come here. You can, instead of the emails, you can just ask me, who do you like here and there? I give you my honest opinion. Again, I don't pick every one of these games. I don't bet every one of these games, and they're not on the site, every one of these games. I'm taking this, here's who I like. Some of them I give no opinion on. And then I condense it to the best ones that I think are less risk. And then those are my bets. So that's really what you're trying to do. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. Have a wonderful night and see you at about 11. And off we go. Okay, take care, everybody.